Good afternoon. Welcome to Dalkeith Tennis Club. Round 3 of the Men's State League Championships. My name is Brett Patten, sitting alongside Tom George, Tennis Australia's Academy Manager, for what is sure to be a sensational day. Come of the big powerhouses of WA tennis playing today. Looking forward to what will be certainly the clash of the round. Tommy George, welcome to round 3. How have you found the men's tournament or the championships in the first 2 rounds?
Brett, it's wonderful to be here on a beautiful afternoon at one of WA's prestigious tennis clubs, Dalkeith Tennis Club. So far I've seen some fantastic competition, and here are 2 of the great teams in the competition that are vying for the title, and it'll be really interesting to see how today goes, because Dalkeith, the last couple of weeks, have had a couple nail-biting losses where they've lost by 2 games in 3 games, I believe. So they'll really come out firing today, and they want to get the victory, but Kings Park will be giving it all to them as well.
All the publicity's been around the number 1 players, S.Webster from Dalkeith Tennis Club and Jake Robinson from Kings Park. I mean, this is going to be a world-class matchup. We know both players, terrific athletes, both very big from the back of the court. Jakey Robinson adds a little bit of something different, does like to serve and volley, where S.Webster is more of a counter-puncher. Now, S.Webster, what can you tell us about S.Webster? Certainly over the last couple of years, he went to college, honed his craft under a good college program. What can you tell us about S.Webster?
Yeah, so S.Webster is a big name in WA tennis. He played college tennis at Appalachian State, and with also one of my good mates, Trent Constant, shout out to Trent in Tasmania, and who's listening into the live stream. And Scott works incredibly hard. He's a true professional. He's had quite an interesting story. He was a top junior in WA in Australia and did his college tennis, and then he spent quite a lot of time travelling with John Peers, Australia's number 1 doubles player, and so he's had some great world experience going to the Grand Slams with John, and he's also got a lot of strings to his bow, where he's doing his masters at Durham University. He's also coach at one of the private schools here, and so he does a lot, but top talent and one of the top players in the league.
And certainly was last year's MVP for the WA State League that was presented at the Industry Awards only a matter of weeks ago at the Optus Stadium. He also trains out at the State Tennis Centre. You run an adult league or the high performance talent squad out there. He's part of that squad, and tell the listeners a little bit about that squad and some of the players you got involved, the best WA male players.
Yeah, it's a great squad, and shout out to Len Canal, who does a great job with those boys. Brad Ladyman also helps a lot, but that's all the top senior players. We call it the senior squad, so really fortunate to have John Peers, and we have Astra Sharma and Maddie Inglis. They all join in when they're home, and we have all the top state league players, so Timmy Gray, James Newton, S.Webster. They all come in and they train every day. They're all good mates, and then they all do gym together after, and it's great culture that's been established there. So, really excited for what the future brings for all those boys.
No question about that. If we look across to Kings Park, we spoke about Jake Robinson, and Jake's been around for a number of years now, almost a bit of a journeyman here at the Men's State League level. Comes from a really prodigious tennis talent family. His brother Kurt Robinson, one of the best coaches in WA at Kings Park, and his grandmother Margaret Robinson was inducted into the Tennis Seniors Australia Hall of Fame only a matter of years ago. I think she's won about 10 world championships in various age groups. Jake Robinson, really impressive athlete, very good-looking athlete, moves really well, probably a little bit more suited to the grass courts of Royal Kings Park. Have you had a chance to see many of Jakey Robinson's matches, certainly last summer?
Yeah, Jake's household name in Perth tennis. He does very well each season in State League, does well to lead the Kings Park team, previously done very well in the Australian money tournaments here in WA. So it'll be really interesting to see how he goes, and as you say, he's very popular with the ladies. Yeah,
no question about that, Tommy George, as are you. Now, we are playing out here at Dalkeith Tennis Clubs as we pan around and see some of the players walking onto court. Matches generally kick off at 1 o'clock on the dot. They warm up for about 5 minutes leading up to 1 o'clock. I mean, this is a beautiful venue for tennis, situated in the leafy suburb of Dalkeith. I think there's got about 80 or 90 years worth of history out here at Dalkeith Tennis Club. An exciting day, lack of breeze around. We broadcast the Women's State League match last week between Hensburn Park and Cottesloe. What can you tell us about the difference in the men's and the women's games? What are we going to see today that potentially we didn't see from the women's event last Sunday?
Yeah, thanks, Brett. There's some contrasting differences. I think you'll see the big power tennis from the men today. I think we were really fortunate last week to see some of the WA's top female athletes where there's some craftiness and using the slides, and we saw Lily come forward in that. But the men, I think you'll see some shorter points. You'll see a couple of these guys here, Jakey Robertson and S.Webster, who go for big booming first serves. You'll see them come forward a lot, and yeah, there are those definitely a lot of differences. The girls more of the drive volleys and the boys are traditional volleys, and yeah, so it'd be really interesting to see the contrast this week.
Certainly will do. And the blue courts out here at Dalkeith, but the Aussie True Blue they call it, Tommy George. This is what we see throughout the Australian summer of tennis. All clubs around Australia generally would move to the Aussie Blue. What can you tell us about these type of courts? Are they a little grittier? Is it serve and volleying surface, or is it more a baseline game we'll see here today?
Yeah, so these courts are a little bit slower actually, so I think we will see some extended rallies, especially when they begin the point with the second serves. So one of the great things about this tennis club is they have clay out the back. They've got hard courts here. They've got the natural grass courts. It is an amazing club, and shout out to Dalkeith because we do a lot of our clay court training here on the Hartrude green clay courts out the back. So it'll be interesting to see with the fresh balls and how that reacts here at the start of the match. But I think you'll see once the balls fluff up a little bit, I think we'll see some long extended rallies here on these slower courts.
First match up today, and you just saw the two boys hitting up between Jake Robinson furthest from the camera and S.Webster closest to the camera. Scotty Webster, obviously last year's MVP for the WA Men's State League competition. Again, a terrific athlete. And on the second court, as we move across, we're actually looking at some really talented, a young talented junior in James Newton, closest to the camera from Dalkeith, comes up against a journeyman in Jarron Stafford. What can you tell us about James Newton?
Yeah, James is one of Australia's top talents. He's an incredible player. He's 2004 birth year, so he turns 17 the end of the year. He's got one of those unfortunate birth dates in December where he just misses out on playing nationals by a couple of weeks. But he's made the final of the Australian Grass Court Nationals at Cottesloe a couple of years ago, which just shows his class. He was the winner of the Rafa Nadal Tour, so he's earned his place to get a free fly and training in Mallorca with at Nadal's Academy. And he does a lot of his training at Henderson, and he always used to play for them. And a big shout out to his coaches there at Greenwood with Ash and Brad Dye have done a wonderful job with his development, because the future's very bright for James. He's an accomplished player already, but at only 16 years old, he'll go on to bigger and brighter things.
Wonderful talent, no question about that. And he's coming up against Jarron Stafford. Furthest from the camera is from Kings Park. Now, Jarron Stafford, for the listeners, has been around for many years playing state league at the highest level here. A terrific player, was a great junior coming through. And he'll bring a serve and volleying game to young James Newton today. So look out for a really exciting brand of tennis as we switch back across to the top court. We'll be operating two cameras, the courts number 1 and courts number 2 today for those tuning in, the number 1 singles and the number 2 singles. Of course, Dalkeith have opted to play all 4 courts. The format is 4 singles and 2 doubles for the day in the men's and women's state league championships, but we'll keep across the number 1 singles and the number 2 singles throughout the day as we switch across and seeing a little bit of Jakey Robinson just warming up, the overhead smash. And again, what we're about to be seeing from these athletes, and I'm really excited to see this, is great athleticism around the court. We're going to see a lot of heavy serving, a lot of big forehands. They'll be really leaning on their bigger weapons. And we know that the men's game is really developed around the big first serve and then just leaning in on that big forehand. Traditionally, and if we go back 15 years, has the game changed a lot from what you've seen?
There's been big changes. I think there's been a lot of factors that have contributed to those changes. But back in the day when you were there up in Geraldton with your wooden racket,
yes,
there was a lot of grass court tennis, a lot of one-handed backhands and slice backhands, and people serve volleying. And you see that's completely changed now with a lot of the professional tournaments on clay and hard court, and now people learning their craft from the baseline. And also, I think with the technology, there's been some huge changes in the game. So now, the advancements have made with racket technology. Now the players are using big big banger strings and natural guard, and you're seeing a lot more pop on their shots. So you're right, there's huge big serves, big forehands, especially on the professional tour, but yeah, completely different from a few years ago when we were used to the chip and charge and the serve volley, but yeah, which almost seems obsolete when you look around the Grand Slams now.
It's interesting to note that Roger Federer was considered somewhat of a servant volleyer when he first broke out, when his first Wimbledon against Mark Philippoussis, well, way back in the early 2000s. His game style's had to adapt. He's had to change because of that technology, because of the strings and the lightness of the rackets, the carbon shaft nowadays. Players can take big cuts at the ball, and with the grittiness of the strings, the ball seems to dip down. So we probably haven't seen really true serve and volleying male tennis players since, gee whiz, 97, 98 when Pat Rafter won the US Open.
Yeah, you're right, and really enjoyed those days actually with Pat Rafter, and even looking back to Pat Cash and Stefan Edberg and the serve volley in there. But no, you're very rare nowadays. Obviously, it's still very prominent in doubles, and they're all serve volleying. But in singles play, very rare to see anyone serve volley the whole match.
My name is Brett Patten. Tom George, Tennis Australia's High Performance Academy Manager. Shout out to you. You've just been named Tennis Northern Territory. Well, you're going to go up there to Northern Territory in coming days. I won't let the cat out of the bag just yet, Tommy George. You gave me that look to say be quiet. So we'll just move across back to the tennis, Tommy George. Yeah. And again, we're looking at just the warming up. Warming up generally takes about 3 minutes, and then we'll kick back to. We're going to cross across to both courts. We're going to see James Newton, Jarron Stafford will also be playing on the number 2 courts. But really exciting matchups today, and this is a pretty even. It's a very even-keeled, I think, tie today between Dalkeith and Kings Park. Dalkeith, of course, lost their opening 2 matches by only a matter of 2 games and 2 games, but they're a better team than that. They were last year's finalists, and I think they made the final the previous year as well. So they've been 2 years runner-up, looking to break through this year. They haven't had success at state league level in the men's competition, gee whiz, for the better part of 20-odd years. So they've got a very good team. And they've got a team that's stuck together for the last couple of years. They know each other's game really well. And with the injection of James Newton into this side, who coincidentally was playing for Hensman Park last year and was on the winning side against Dalkeith, I think he'll add certainly a lot to the depth of Dalkeith Tennis Club.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I think we're in for a blockbuster matchup, very evenly matched, 2 of the top teams, and really can't wait to see how the day unfolds. And it wouldn't surprise me if we come down to some live doubles.
Court number 2, Scotty Webster, closest to the camera, just about to start. You'll see the odd ball fall across the court. We don't have court barriers here. Anyway, Scotty Webster, Dalkeith Tennis Club, ready to serve. Beautiful coverage there from Jakey Robinson. We spoke about that at the top of the match here. Great court coverage from Jake, but again, that big 1-2 punch, the big first serve from Scotty Webster, and just really leaning in on that big forehand.
Yeah, great first point. If they keep that level up all day, we're in for a cracking match.
Put a little bit too much topspin on that second serve. But traditionally, though, would the change of tempo between first and second serve in the men's game, would it change too much? They generally hit the second serve almost as heavy as the first serve.
Yeah, it's the second serves are becoming bigger and bigger. There's still the old adage in professional tennis, you're only as good as your second serve. But I think you'll see the players today, they'll go for the big flat first serve or slider, and then predominantly on the second serve they'll use a big heavy kicker and maybe the occasional slice serve just for variety and keep their opponent off their toes.
I think Scotty heard you. He went for the slide of the first serve. It was called a let. Another let. And of course we're going to keep you up to date with all the scores from around the men's and women's state league throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, nice serve there from Webby. That's what he wants. Nice free point. Always makes life a bit easier to hold serve if you get that 1 or 2 free points off a big serve.
Gee whiz, a comedy there. I mean, there was a let cord that came in, gave an opportunity for S.Webster to have an easy pass, but he wrapped it around the frame. Same result. If we look at Jake Robinson's results from last weekend, had a very good win against Tim Gray. Now, Timmy Gray's been a prodigious winner on the UTR and a lot of the AMT tournaments throughout this summer so far, and he beat Tim Gray, who's playing for UWA Tennis Club, 10-7 in the super tiebreaker. So that was a terrific win for Jake Robinson. The start of the season for S.Webster has been nothing but glorious. I mean, I think he's won 6 out of his last 7 singles matches into last year and the start of this year. Had a win in the second round against Dan Downey, but he did lose his opening match to his good mate and sparring partner from Cottesloe, Scott Jones. But gee whiz, he's been on a real tear over the last year.
Yeah, he really has. He's performed incredibly well, and I think that's why Dalkeith found themselves in that final last season. And as you say, Scott Jones is a class act there, taking him out, but no shame in that loss.
And there's that beautiful play, just taking the ball early and moving forward from Jake Robinson. And, you know, he is rare because very few players really will be as aggressive as what we'll see out here today with Jake Robinson. Does like to get the early ball, loves to move forward, really good around the net. And it's an exciting brand of tennis, Tom.
Yeah, it really was. Looking forward to seeing more of that today, taking it to Webster. Yeah, I'm taking that early, coming forward, very aggressive player.
Yeah, nice flat serve out to the backhand wing. I think if we're going to go to probably a weakness, it'd be that sort of flat serve out to the backhand, which Jakey at times can catch a little bit late. His technique, he's very stiff arm in his technique as we switch across to court number 3. We're seeing Jarron Stafford, furthest from the camera, from Kings Park, come up against the young talented James Newton from Dalkeith Tennis Club. They're just changing ends as well. I'm going to go through some of the other matchups throughout today's play. I'm looking forward to what's going to be a wonderful day of tennis. I mean, the conditions couldn't have been any better. Perfect conditions. We're probably mid-20s, a little bit of breeze here at Dalkeith, and that'll be right across all the other fixtures as well. We've seen Jake Robinson from Dalkeith coming closest to the camera. S.Webster held his opening serve under a little bit of duress, leading 1 game to love. Going for that sliding serve, as you made mention. Men do like to go that sliding serve out to the juice court. And just hit the top of the frame, really just catapulting that second serve wide. Early stage of this match, 1 game in. What have you liked so far?
Actually, I've really liked Jake's aggressive play early on. He really showed his intentions to come forward and go for his shots, which very admirable, and he's going to take it right to Webster throughout the day. As you say, coming off a great win against Tim Gray.
Overplaying on that forehand. Best of 3 sets today. 3rd set will be a super tiebreaker. That is first to 10 points. Jake Robinson just looking to change rackets. He's made a couple of simple errors in the opening 2 points of this service game, so he's just looking to change up the racket. Potentially it might be an issue with the tension of his strings. I mean, does that play a big factor, the tension of the strings in your racket, Tom?
Yeah, it definitely does, and I think you're right there. With Jake missing that forehand long, just flew a little bit, so I think he's changed rackets there probably for tighter tension, so he can get a little bit more control there on his shots. But yeah, the pro players are very particular with this tension.
Had an opportunity there. Beautiful deep return from S.Webster. Just overplayed that forehand. A little bit too aggressive. Probably better percentage if he was to hit sort of to the angles. A little bit more court to work with. He opted for the shorter part of the court and overplayed that forehand just long. From S.Webster. Jake Robinson from Kings Park, closest to the camera, serving. Currently trailing 1 game to love.
Oh, unlucky. Great booming serve. He got the ball he wanted, and he had the open court.
That was an easy mistake, and that certainly could come back to haunt him. Finds himself down 15-40, 2 break points in the opening game, opening service game for Jake Robinson from Kings Park. I mean, they're the chances. You just can't let that slide, Tom George.
Yeah, big opportunity for Scott here.
Again, going for the slider wide. There's the touch. Beautiful touch from Jakey Robinson, and he has that in his arsenal. His father before him was very, very good around the net. Great soft hands. And sometimes you can be overplaying on that drop shot on the hard court. Hard court make it sit up, but gee whiz, absolutely disguised that and executed it perfectly.
Yeah, beautiful shot. He showed the power and the finesse all in the 1 point.
First serve percentage just dropped away in this opening game. Still down a break point, 30-40, second serve. Good chance for Scotty Webster to have a look at this. Got away with that, gee whiz, it was a good opportunity. Got around and hit the forehand, which is Scotty Webster's favourite stroke. Just played a little bit short and probably too far down the middle of the court. Jakey Robinson played a good cross-court forehand. Got it back on parity now, juice.
Yeah, missed opportunity there from Scott. He'll be very displeased with that miss.
Beautiful tennis, absolute class led. I like that play from Jakey Robinson. Going to move to the net, beautiful. Just low volley, difficult volley too. That lower volley around the ankles, always very difficult to pass. It was a good passing shot by Scotty Webster, but the class prevailed there from Jake Robinson.
I didn't realize it was in camera. Sorry. I just gotta say that. No, it's fine. I use my network. Yes, the technical error. Yeah. Kimi sending me a message. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So we can go. Yeah. But no live stream at this stage.
You would have seen just the tail end of a wonderful point there, Tommy George. We're back on live air. Apologies, a few technical issues there. Just to close this out for the last minute and a half. Of course, my name is Brett Patten, sitting alongside Tennis Australia's High Performance Academy Manager, Tommy George. Going to give you the update around all matches being played, men's and women's state league across this afternoon.
Brilliant point from Scotty there. Finished off with a great smash. It bounced well over Jake's head.
One game all between Webster serving furthest from the camera. Jake Robinson, Kings Park, closer to the camera. Pushing that wide. I mean, the athleticism these both boys are distributing out here, or attributing, I should say, would be just the hard work in the off-season. You know, they both do a lot of work, a lot of miles in the legs, Tommy George. A lot of gym work. I mean, the ideal preparation for a player nowadays, it's not so much on the weights, it's just more of the anaerobic, more of the core strength, more on-court work. Or how would you put a plan together for one of the best male and female tennis players?
Yeah, a bit of a mix, Brett. So obviously a lot of hours on court for these players, but all their strength and conditioning off court and on court is incredibly pivotal. So you can do on court conditioning and drills set up where they're working on their fitness, and also they do their strength work, and they will do a lot of core exercises and do their body management, but it's really that holistic view as well, where they have their team sports doctor and physio and nutritionist, and so they really have a full complement to, you only have one body, you've got to look after it.
Watching James Newton, young talented player, last year played for Henderson Park, closest to the camera, now playing for Dalkeith, was a winner in the Henderson Park State League side, who did defeat Dalkeith last year, now finds himself playing for Dalkeith, up against Jarron Stafford, furthest from the camera from Kings Park, journeyman.
Yeah, great serve there from James, big serve, and that's been an area which he's really improved his game on recently. He's getting a bit more pop on that serve, and he's putting a bit more weight on his ground strokes.
Plays for Christchurch in the PSA. He's already played 3 hours this morning against Hale, so that wouldn't cause him any problems. I wouldn't have thought he'd be fit enough to get through an hour and a half of top line singles here, Tom George.
You're right, he's fit as a fiddle, so he'll be able to back it up with really good quality this afternoon. He puts in the hard yards each week, so he's in great shape, and the fitness won't be an issue today, especially with the format of 2 sets and a super tie break if it goes to a 3rd set.
Switch across back to the top court. Jake Robinson from Kings Park serving furthest from the camera. Beautiful sliding serve out wide, plenty of heat on that. He's gone to that serve quite often. This is his second service game. It generally looks like that's his preferred to the juice court, preferred serve to the juice court. I mean, do you think that's something that is going to trouble Scotty Webster today?
Yeah, it looks like he's really honed in on that as a tactic to do that slider out wide, or as you say, his preferred serve. So Scotty will have to move across and cut that off before it slides away from him. a loose error there from Jake. That's sort of Scott's game there, where he's very solid from the back of the court, and he'll wait for that mistake there.
Jake going to the towel. He's quite tropical out here. Again, almost a perfect day for tennis. A little bit of breeze coming from left to right across the screen. You can hear Scotty Webster just giving his teammates a bit of a cheer up. Of course, they're playing 4 courts here today at the Dalkeith Tennis Club. We're sticking with the top 2 courts, number 1 and 2 singles. Again, loose error, short ball. Sometimes they can play in your favour when the ball is just dipping down, no pace, and Jake had to move forward and get that up and over. What would you like to see him do there? Maybe just push it deep and move forward rather than go for the big forehand?
Yeah, he did the right thing where he was trying to take a bit of pace off that topspin forehand, but potentially could have chipped it into the corner and then just closed the net, the high percentage play.
Oh, beautifully played. I do like that serve and volley, but gee whiz, a perfectly timed backhand lob a la Leighton Hewitt. I mean, we all know Leighton Hewitt loved that backhand lob, and gee whiz, Scotty Webster hit that perfectly.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable shot there from Scotty. Yeah, as soon as he hit it, it was very reminiscent of Leighton Hewitt's backhand topspin lob. It's the greatest of all time.
Gives himself a breakpoint opportunity. 15-40. A little long. Jake's been really missing that first serve. I mean, he held his first service game under duress. He finds himself now down another break point. And there it is, just to a loose backhand error. I mean, if you're out there on court, Tom George, what would you be saying right now to Jakey Robinson?
Yeah, I'd just say I admired his aggressive play, but I'd just say just be a little bit more patient. Just work the point and construct it. He'll have his opportunities, wait for the short ball and then attack. But he's just pulling the trigger a little bit too early, and there's just been a couple loose errors to start the match. I did like that before when Scotty hit that great winner and supported his teammates and gave the fist pump. They've got a great culture here at Dalkeith. They all get the matching hoodies and team uniforms, and they put their nicknames on the back of their hoodies uniform. So they all play for each other.
Oh, if you don't mind, beautifully hit forehand, just timed to perfection. They do call themselves the Dalkeith Dolphins. They call Dalkeith Tennis Club the Aquarium, Tom George. So
yeah, you got to love it.
I do love their culture, certainly down here at Dalkeith Tennis Club. There's been quite a few years between their last state league title. Scotty Webster's just putting the team on his back. See if he can't carry him through to a premiership this year. Scotty Webster currently leading 3-1. Early break. Nice swinging serve down the middle.
Yeah, great serve. No, you're exactly right, Brett, with the Dolphins. They're a tight-knit community, the Dolphins. They had great players like Tristan Schoolgate and Derek Pham play for them previously, and when they hit a winner, they look at each other and say, fins up.
Push that wide. Seems to be the common serve out to that juice court by both players, just swinging that ball wide, trying to open up the court for that next shot, the big 2 punch to up the first serve. A few unforced errors, and we can hear that. Jake Robinson not real happy with his early form in this first set.
Yeah, he keeps looking at his racket and checking the string tension. He's clearly not happy with the string job.
Given he's the stringer of his own rackets, he'll give himself a good talking to, Tommy George, I'd imagine.
Yes.
Can't blame the stringer on this occasion.
No.
Scotty Webster closest to the camera. Currently leading 3-1. Oh, play 2. The ball's rolled across the back of the court, and as is tradition here, if the ball rolls onto the court, you always play 2. Some of the other matches being played across WA at the moment. The Men's State League, Mount Lawley come up against Henderson Park. And Alexander Park are playing at UWA. Had a look, plenty of opportunity, and as you rightfully said at the top of the broadcast today, this court does play a little slow, doesn't it, as Scotty Webster goes to the towel, currently leading 4-1 in the first set as we move across to Jarron Stafford and James Newton. The courts are very gritty, and they do sit up. If you're going to move forward, you've got to really hit through the court, because if you don't hit through, you sort of feather the ball, your opponent has a chance to look at the passing shot.
Yeah, it's playing right into Scott Webster's hands, where he's been incredibly solid and waiting for Jake's unforced errors. But we'll turn our attention now to the number 2 singles.
Big swinging serve. Jarron Stafford is known for that beautiful swinging slider serve out to the forehand wing. I mean, young James Newton, 17 years of age. Jarron Stafford would be into his early 30s, so a big age gap between these two players.
Yeah, big age gap and contrast in styles.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's too good.
And hold a serve there for Jarron Stafford. I mean, that's the craft that he has, and he's had some big wins throughout State League, defeating a couple of years ago Andrew Roberts, who was the #1 player in WA for many, many years. Had a very good win when he was playing for Higgins Park against Andrew Roberts, who was playing at Cottesloe at the time. I mean, that was just a breakout win for Jarron Stafford, and we saw there that the arsenal that he actually has in his kit bag.
No, you're right. That's an incredibly impressive shot. We had a great view of that backhand winner down the line.
Plenty of power, James Newton. I mean, for a 16, 17-year-old kid, and, you know, slightly built, times the ball incredibly well.
Yeah, he sure does. He's got wonderful technique. He's a real natural player, and yeah, he's got that easy power through that good technique.
Currently on serve here in court number 2 between James Newton serving furthest from the camera for Dalkeith. Jarron Stafford returning, Kings Park. Kings Park equal top of the ladder. Dalkeith sitting in 5th spot after 2 very close losses. Oh, overplaying. Did go after that James Newton for the cross-court forehand. Beautifully played, that 1-2 punch from James Newton. Currently leading 3-all on serve here in this first set between James Newton and Jarron Stafford. Stafford closest to the camera from Kings Park, journeyman. Possesses a lot of power. James Newton serving, Dalkeith. The running forehand down the line. What can you tell us about James Newton? Currently being coached by the Dyer boys up there at Greenwood, Brad Nash Dyer.
Yeah, they've done a tremendous job on his development, because they've made some good changes where there's more weight behind his shots. He's doing the physical work, and he's really, you know, growing up to be a really impressive adult player. So he's making that essential transition from, you know, an elite junior into the seniors, and he's been very impressive recently in State League and the last few AMTs. I think we've big raps on Jimmy Newton moving forward.
No question about that. Great athletic young player. One of the top talent coming through the ranks of WA, and you've been blessed with the amount of talent that you've been able to produce throughout WA with the great coaches we've got here and the High Performance Academy at the State Tennis Centre. Beautiful down the middle serve. So we switch back across to #1 court, Jake Robinson from Kings Park, closest to the camera. Really being outgunned here in this opening set. Currently down 5-love against Scott Webster. And Webster's just the consistency and the depth of shot is really just causing some problems for Jake Robinson.
Yeah, he's giving Jake absolutely nothing. He's basically hasn't put a foot wrong so far. Webster incredibly solid off both wings. He's moving well, but no surprise, he's very consistent in his performances, as you mentioned earlier. He does a lot of training, so he gets the volume each week.
Jake just talking to himself, talking about how he's struggling to make a first serve. Beautiful 1-2 punch. Lovely kick serve into the body. Jammed up Scotty Webster and just opened up the down the line forehand. Love to see a bit more of that so he can start firing himself up.
Oh, I completely agree. That's exactly what he needs to do. Really short points and just take it to Webster. I think whenever these rallies get over 4 or 5 shots, it's heavily favoured to Webster to win the rally.
Certainly got the shot he was after. Beautiful swinging serve. Nice deep reply by Scotty Webster. Took off a lot of pace. Had to make Jake go after it and generate his own pace. And on that occasion, just overplayed. A little bit of anxiety creeping into Jake's game at the moment, trying to overplay every shot.
Yeah, I think he's just overplayed that. And I think because Scott's moving so well and chasing everything down. Second serve.
Long. Oh, lovely play again. The soft hands, but gee whiz, good wheels from Scotty Webster to run that one down. But half volley to perfection from Jake, and that's what I like to see Jake do more of. He is so good around the net. Great hands, good athlete. I think he needs to really start being a bit more aggressive and using the net. Serve and volley, chip and charge, start changing the look and feel of this game against Scott. He's got nothing to lose in this first set. He is down 5-love.
Yeah, that's right. It really open up his shoulders. He'd go for his shots and, as you say, use a bit more variety.
Again, really struggling on serve at the moment. There's Jake Robinson closest to the camera. Overplaying that backhand again. The good pressure from Scott Webster, just keeping Jake Robinson on the back foot. Both boys going to the towel. A lot of coverage in today's West Australian, Tommy George, of the match-up between Scotty Webster and Jake Robinson. Some comments made in the West Australian. Scotty said that Jake's a wonderful athlete. He's had the wood over him for the last couple of matches. Jake will be coming out booming. Big serve down the middle. Yeah, it's a beautiful combination. A little bit of curios in that. You know, just decided to just slow it up, change it around, the slice forehand down the line for the winner.
I absolutely love that play. That could be the play of the day because I think everyone watching, including myself, thought he was going for the drop shot and he disguised it very well and just pushed it down the line for the winner. Well played.
Lovely play. Again, there's that court, the grittiness of the court, the good chip deep by Jake, but the ball sat up and gave Scotty Webster plenty of time to hit that down the line passing shot. If you're going to go and chip and charge, you've got to put a little bit more oomph on that.
That's right, and I think that's why we don't see so many people come forward nowadays, because unless you have an amazing shot and your opponent's in big trouble, if they have time there like Webster did, it's just too easy.
That's the play. That's the one. If I was on court with Jake right now, just get him to go after that first serve, move forward, be more aggressive, hit with confidence. Back on juice.
Yeah, it was a great play. Big serve and good put away.
Jake currently trailing 5 games to love, serving closest to the camera for Royal Kings Park. Currently equal top of the ladder with Hensman Park after 2 rounds of the Men's State League. Playing that backhand long again, just getting a little bit anxious in his delivery of his ground strokes. Jake Robinson feels like he has to overplay. I mean, that's scoreboard pressure for you, Tom George.
Yeah, it
Currently
is.
trailing 5-love.
Yeah, just press in a little bit. Good to get a hold of serve here and then get settled and and then really try and have a crack in the second set.
What can you see on his first serve that's challenging him at the moment?
Yeah, good play there. Nice kick serve and nice deep forehand. Yeah, so he's got a step-up serve, and there is a lot going on. So you can see just the rhythm and the sync is just a little bit out of kilter at the moment. So I think, you know, he is known for having a great serve. So I think he'll find his rhythm very quickly here.
Oh, beautiful cross-court forehand. Scotty Webster just clenches the fist too. The crowd here, generous crowd here at Dalkeith Tennis Club, really appreciated the hometown hero on that occasion. Finds himself another set point, currently leading 5 games to love against Jake Robinson, closest to the camera, serving. And Jake and he are just having a conversation on court, saying, heck of a shot.
Yeah, you know it's a good shot when even your opponent applauds it. You're right, the huge crowd here absolutely loved that run-in forehand.
Beautiful forehand down the line to close out the first set. 6 games to love to Scott Webster as we switch across James Newton. Jarron Stafford, second court here at Dalkeith Tennis Club. Beautifully played forehand. James Newton, slightly built. Gee whiz, he can put a bit of muscle behind that ball. I mean, what sort of work is the Dyer brothers doing, and what are you doing at the State Tennis Centre to support the development of young James?
Yeah, so James, you're talking about generating that speed there. So I know the Dyers do a lot of great training, but one of the things they do really well is they do a lot of hand feeding, where they're feeding the ball to the player with no pace, so the player has to generate great racket head speed and use their legs and body to generate. And you can see that's exactly what's happened there, where James is being able to generate through good racket head speed. He's been very physical, he's using his legs, and he's really launching himself into each shot. So it's wonderful development, and James has been training with the senior squad, so playing with those older boys who have all been a good role model for him, and he's getting that good strong hitting.
Great play, and James Newton not real happy with the court coverage. But I love that play. We saw that from Jarron Stafford. We said that at the start of the match, that Jarron will be more aggressive than probably young James. He will take the opportunity to move forward, and we saw that on that occasion. Really solid competitor, really understands court craft. Jarron Stafford, furthest from the camera for Kings Park.
Yeah, really good point, and did a good job of coming forward as James was getting further and further behind the baseline. James will just have to watch that in this match, because loose mistake. The further he gets back behind the baseline, the more the court will open up.
Currently 4 games apiece between James Newton, Jarron Stafford here in the number 2 singles between Kings Park and Dalkeith. Some of the experience starting to come to the fore for Jarron Stafford in this 8th game of this first set. No, overplaying. James just looks to the sky, takes a deep breath. Thought he got away with one there. So we switch back across to the start of the second set. Top court. There's a generous call there by Jakey Robinson. That served down the middle from Scott Webster after winning the first set 6 games to love.
Yeah, he's been very fair on his line calls. There have been a couple of balls that have been very borderline, but he's given the benefit of the doubt every time. So credit to Jake for playing fair out here.
Yeah, lovely play. Again, Scotty thought was a little generous on that. You're sitting right on that single sideline. I thought that ball might have been a little wide, Tom Georgia, but he played it.
I think it was a little bit wide, but I think they're great mates and looking out for each other here on these line calls.
Zooming in on Scotty Webster, see the style, service action. Just missing that wide. Won't give that to his good mate. That was too far wide, Tom George. that play. Great athleticism, a little bit of Pat Rafter in that movement, just moving the ball around the court, getting Scotty Webster on the run and just closing out with a beautiful overhead. A very athletic smash on that occasion from Jake Robinson.
Yeah, great point there, Brett. Class act.
Some of the other results from this time, obviously match 3 and 4, Oliver Henderson from Dalkeith is currently leading 3 games to 2 against Kings Park Sam Ashenden. And match 4, Michael Offerman from Dalkeith is currently trailing 4 games to 1 against Kings Park's Ben Dallinger. 4 courts in operation today, Tom George. We're only broadcasting the top 2, the number 1 and the number 2 singles.
Yeah, different format, because the last couple of weeks we've had only the 2 courts going, so we're obviously going to get through the day's play a lot quicker today.
Some of the other matches going on around the grounds. Mount Lawley come up against Henderson Park. Henderson top of the table. Mount Lawley playing at home. Addy Mann currently up 2 games to 1 against Matt Burton. Ethan Farley from Mount Lawley currently up 2 games to 1 against Ethan Cook.
Just pushing that forehand volley long. Good play though, coming forward. It's the right play, just the execution there on the volley.
Marco Murdoch is currently trailing Austin Voss 5 games to love from Henderson Park. And Jake Dembo from Mount Lawley currently leads Rory Males 2 games to 1. That's between Mount Lawley and Henderson Park. Played at Mount Lawley this afternoon.
Great to see Rory make his debut there in State League. He's just, young talent, left-hander. He's just moved over from England. Works incredibly hard, so great to see him get his first gig in State League.
Give some of the Women's State League updates in a moment's time. As we watching the top court, Scott Webster serving furthest from the camera for Dalkeith. Won the opening set 6 games to love. Just an easy slice backhand.
Yeah, just a bit off balance there, and then just shadowed swing, hit a backhand topspin shot, which in hindsight it's easy to say, but he should have gone with his strong double-hander.
The slice backhand, Tom George, from a coaching perspective, is it taught as often now? A lot of the players, particularly junior players, they play with 2 hands on the racket. So back 10, 15 years ago when it was more one-handed, there was a natural inclination to hit more slicing. I mean, is the slice taught as much now with kids playing with 2 hands?
I don't think so. Unfortunately, I think it's really been a shot that's been neglected in coach in recent years, which is a shame because Ash Barty has shown, and Roger as well, how effective a good slice can be. So you'd really like to see the coaches prioritise a full complement of strokes, but really spend a lot of time at a young age on that skill development and the slice. But what a point from Webster with a beautiful off forehand. Great footwork to whip around and rip that off forehand. God, he's on fire. But no, you're right, Brett. Would love to see. I think it is a point of difference, and if you have a good slice backhand, it can take you a long way. And I think it is one of the big reasons Ash Barty's gone to world number 1.
Yet to get on the board, Jakey Robinson, top court, trailing 6-love, 1-love. We switch across to court number 2, Jarron Stafford serving. Currently trailing 4 games to 5 against Dalkeith James Newton. Jarron just talking to himself. He's still currently leading 40-30. Chance to go to 5-all. You can see the Dalkeith tennis players got their names on the back of their jerseys. You call them jerseys or tennis shirts, Tom George?
I do call them a tennis shirt or a uniform, but yeah, I guess it's very American, isn't it? The NFL jerseys. But going out for a Halloween party tonight, and someone asked me if I was bringing candy, and I said, "Oh, are we in America or Australia?" But yeah, you can call it whatever you want. But yeah, I usually stick with uniform. Pivotal stage at this match here.
5 games apiece on this number 2 court between James Newton and Jarron Stafford. Stafford closest to the camera, just going off camera there. As we switch across to the top court. Jake Robinson furthest from the camera, yet to get onto the board, trailing 6-love, 1-love. This match against Scott Webster, last year's State League MVP. better point. A lot more consistent, a lot more patient, Jake Robinson on that occasion. Of course, the wind is blowing into the camera as you're watching. A bit more breeze around now. It's 50 minutes into this current tie. We'll probably see a little bit more breeze as the afternoon gets later.
Yeah, you're right, Brett. Right here on the water, it can get very windy here in the afternoon.
Oh, lovely play. Cross-court forehand and then one down the line. Scotty Webster, you see on camera there, just giving it the soft clench of the fist.
Yeah, he's really fired up. He's in the zone. He's been talking about this all week because he knew the broadcast was coming. He would be on the live stream West Australian, so he's been training all week. Oh, what a big serve. That's amazing.
That step-up serve worked, yeah, and that's what we'd like to see more of, to be more competitive here from Jake Robinson. He's a class act, Jakey. We know that. He's just been misfiring in these early stages of this match and just needs a high percentage first serve to get his confidence up. Good, beautiful play from Scotty Webster. As we switch across, we might stay with court number 2 given the final stages of this first set. Currently 5 games apiece. James Newton furthest from the camera for Dalkeith, 17 years of age. Part of the winning Henderson Park State League side last year, serving against Jarron Stafford, closest to the camera from Kings Park. Overplayed.
Great serve there from Jimmy. 15 love up at 5-all. Absolutely pivotal stage of this match, and it could be a crucial rubber at the end of the day.
The counter-punching style from Jarron Stafford. I mean, gee whiz, such strong hands from the back of the court. Saw on that occasion, and then the balls are coming through very quickly in this second court between James Newton and Jarron Stafford. It's probably not shown that easily on the camera, but they are really going after their ground strokes, Tom.
Yeah, they are. There was quick interaction there with a couple of big booming ground strokes, and then James just got caught in no man's land there and right at his shoelaces. Not the place you want to be.
15 all. I think Jim's missed that serve, that overhead smash, I should say.
Yeah, from his reaction, it looks like he must have missed it. Not happy with that one.
15-30. I mean, 7th game of this first set. This is what you said, Tommy. This is a critical rubber for Kings Park. We see Scotty Webster on the top court in really good form against Jake Robinson. So Jarron Stafford really needs to put his foot down here. Oh, the looseness of that drop shot. A little bit of inexperience playing that shot at that time, Tom George.
It's a real tough one, that one, because you want the players to have flair and go for their shots no matter what the scoreline is. But yeah, I think maybe the shot selection could have been better there. I think a more high percentage play, heavy forehand in the corner, close the net. And the shame for James is if that just trickled over, he would have had it for a winner.
We think it's 2 break points to Jarron, closest to the camera. Lovely play, James Newton under pressure, 30-40, still down a break point at 5-all in this first set.
Yeah, brilliant point there, under the pump to save that break point. Because if he, stayed in the obvious, drop serve here, and his opponent serving for the first set, down the good end, the breeze behind him, he's in trouble.
Oh, heavy serve, flatten out wide to the backhand wing, Jarron Stafford, gee whiz. He's come good under pressure, young James. He made a couple of errors early in this game, but gee whiz, he's come through in clutch times.
That was a great serve. Pinpoint accuracy out wide there. That's exactly what he needed. So back to Juice. See what James can come up with here.
He likes that serve wide. Let's see if he goes to the Juice court. Went there. Yeah, that is incredibly mature play from James Newton. Down 2 break points at 5-all. The set probably would have been done and dusted on Jarron's string if he had have dropped that serve. But gee whiz, he finds himself up a game point here to go up 6-5. Incredibly mature in the last 3 points, Tom George.
Yeah, very mature tennis to get himself back into having game point here. Let's see if he can close out this game with another good point.
Big serve down the tee too. Jarron. Stafford just lifting the racket up as if he was about to smash it down. He had 2 break points to potentially serve for that first set. Now he finds himself down 6-5. Going into all-important 12th game as we switch back across to court number 1. Jake Robinson comes up against Scotty Webster. It's been an enthralling match for the best part of an hour on this top court. Scotty Webster yet to lose a game. Playing some inspired tennis, and you're right, he was pretty pumped up all week, Scotty Webster. He was in and about the State Tennis Centre talking about the opportunity to play live through the West Australian against his good mate, one of the best players in WA, in Jake Robinson. He's come out absolutely smoking. Beautifully played, nicely held backhand. Just waited for Scott Webster to commit and put it back behind him.
Yeah, great point from Jake there, using that backhand cross court to great effect. Got a little bit of that cross breeze, so it's just perfectly played by Jake. More of that.
A little swirliness out here at the moment. Tom George, my name is Brett Patten. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast. Sitting alongside Tom George, High Performance Academy Manager from Tennis Australia. About to change titles very soon, but we can't give too much away, Tom George. Hope you're enjoying this broadcast right across the WA Men's and Women's State League every Saturday. Round number 3. Big serve down the tee, just missing. Oh no, he's catching. Jake said it caught the line. Very fair.
Very fair. That definitely looked wide to me.
Oh, beautifully played. Great court coverage from both players. Just soft hands there from Jake Robinson at the net. Scotty Webster just shaking his head. He's a bit of a perfectionist, Scotty. Doesn't like to lose too many points. He is leading quite comfortably in this match, but doesn't want to give any point away.
No, he sure is. He is a perfectionist, and he is incredibly competitive.
Back to court number 2, Jarron Stafford serving to stay in this match. Currently trailing 5-6 against James Newton, closest to the camera. Big forehand, James Newton. Just good hands. Oh, lovely passing shot. Jarron Stafford on the run, just known for that big open shoulder forehand cross. It's exciting. All the excitement here. The crowd are certainly building and enjoying what they're seeing out here at Dalkeith Tennis Club, Tommy.
The crowd went absolutely bananas on that forehand. It was just, what a shot. One of the points of the day.
Big crowd in. We're going to introduce Heads of Tennis Rob Kennedy very shortly to the broadcast. He's out here at Dalkeith enjoying what he's seeing. Good kick serve, Jarron Stafford. Oh, lovely cross-court backhand. James Newton, gee whiz, just leaned on that short angle. Lots happening here, Dalkeith Tennis Club. 4 courts in action across the Men's State League tie against Kings Park, round number 3. Jarron Stafford serving from Kings Park, furthest from the camera, serving at 5-6 down. Needs a hold serve to force a tiebreak in this first set. Going after that, just no control, too much arm. Jarron just taking some time here, composing himself, getting ready. Oh, a little touch shot. Jarron moves up and great wheels and misses, pushes wide. James Newton, a bit of a wry smile there. He knew he got away with that.
He sure did. Very unlucky there.
He finds himself a couple of break points here, Tom George, in this opening set.
Big opportunity, especially that he himself was down a couple of break points in the last game. So how things have turned in the space of a couple of minutes.
Crowd building nicely here at Dalkeith. Jarron Stafford, Kings Park, serving. Big sliding serve out to the forehand wing.
It's too good.
One break held. Another opportunity for James Newton to close out this first set. Currently leading 6-5. James closer to the camera for Dalkeith. 30-40. And gee whiz, both boys playing incredibly well under pressure, Tom George.
Yeah.
A bit of breeze picking up, throwing the commentary booth into a bit of a wind tunnel here at the moment. Overplaying that forehand. Jarron Stafford again, another set point opportunity for James Newton as he just taps the light pole just to G himself up. Both players have been incredibly big under pressure situations. Let's see what Jarron can come up with. Lovely, and a big cheer from James Newton, if you don't mind, Tommy George, winning that opening set 7-5. Came back from certain adversity there in his own service game at 5-all, was down 2 break points and found himself holding that and then getting back into this match and closing out that first set. Bit of a summary of that first set for you, Tommy.
Yeah, it just really seeing James play exceptional tennis at the critical time in that set was just a pleasure to watch. He's really grown into his own with some brilliant tennis. You know, as you stated, at 5-all, he was down his own 2 break points himself and was in big trouble. And then he came up with some amazing plays to hold serve, and then he got the break of serve. So it was just great to see him. He's moving well. He's playing a good brand of tennis. He's really intense out there. He gave that big command to win the set. The crowd went absolutely bananas. So it's just a pleasure to see him play this level of tennis because he does put in the hard yards. He's a good kid. He studies hard. He's very respectful. He's a kid that we're all very proud of in Western Australia. So, you know, to see him pull off that first set was wonderful.
Great words from Tommy George. Tom George, Tennis Australia's High Performance Academy Manager. My name is Brett Patten, bringing you today's broadcast through the West Australian live streaming, the WA Men's and Women's State League, round number 3 at Dalkeith Tennis Club. The crowd is building nicely here. If you would like to come down and join in and watch some of the best tennis going around, please do. Very friendly environment down here at Dalkeith Tennis Club as we're broadcasting number 1 and number 2 courts here at Dalkeith. Dalkeith coming up against Kings Park. And right now, as it currently stands, Scotty Webster's currently leading 6-love 2-1 against Jake Robinson. As we see Scott taking the court again. You just saw moments ago James Newton from Dalkeith close out that first set against Jarron Stafford, 7-5. Both men just tailing down, getting himself ready. I know Jake's just taking a little bit of extra time. Just wants to compose himself on serve here in this second set. Matches can turn quite quickly. As we welcome to the commentary booth for the very first time today, the viewers say good day to Rob Kennedy, Head of Participation North at Tennis West. Welcome aboard. You enjoying what you're seeing out here, Robbie?
Mate, absolutely fantastic. Thanks for having me. It's a beautiful day, beautiful venue, and these matches are incredible. You can't not be impressed with how Scotty Webster's playing out here at the moment. His forehand's just absolutely on fire. But out on court too as well. I'm really enjoying it. The counterpunch style, and mate, it's a great day to be out here. Thanks for having me.
Tell you what, you've come in steaming straight into the broadcast for the first time. Now, your background used to be a former coach, now head of participation, head of tennis at Tennis West. You're former coach, former player, played college tennis. You've been around since grassroots. I mean, how have you seen the game develop here in WA in the last 10, 15 years?
Oh, I mean, it's so different stepping from sort of the way that I grew up and on court. And I've loved growing up and playing the sport and being a part of it. But I mean, first and foremost, this is fantastic. I mean, to see this for our state grade competition, to see it in the newspaper. I mean, it's a credit to yourself and everything that everyone's doing. But mate, it nearly makes me want to pick up the racket and get back out there and have a go, but we know damn well that's not going to happen.
Well,
so,
you're still young enough, don't count yourself out. We've got the WA Seniors Tennis Championships coming up in December. That's going to be played between Netherlands and Dalkeith, so your chance to pick the racket up and play in the over 30s.
Well, this was the thing, and at first it was obviously over 35s, and actually that's when my phone started ringing again for a few people to say, you know, I had a bit of value back when I got to 35, but obviously with over 30s, absolutely, no doubt. I'm looking forward to picking up the racket again, and I love having a hit. Love having a hit. I think when the state grade ability and the Divi 1 ability sort of dropped for me, I've gone and had a bit of family time and got a new bub, which has joined the ranks, and also just the work, just really been enjoying the work and getting around and coming and watching the tennis. But no doubt I'll pick up the rackets and looking forward to the Seniors Championship in December. Maybe not this year though, mate. Maybe next year. We'll see how we go. I've got an ego, I did tell you about that, so I've got to get back in on the training court, and watching this is definitely holding me back, I think, a little bit for sure.
Well, you're still in pretty good shape. There's no doubt about that. For our viewers there, Rob Kennedy, head of tennis, alongside Michelle Magny at Tennis West. Just watching Jake Robinson serve. Currently trailing 1-2 after losing the first set 6-love against Scotty Webster, furthest from the camera from Dalkeith. A little bit pulled that too far back. What are you seeing from Jake's game? You know he's a very good player, but what are you seeing that he probably could start tightening up a little bit over the next couple of games?
Well, you can definitely see he's going after Scotty's backhand a little bit more there. He's, I think Scotty's forehand's been absolutely on fire since I've been on and watching the game. But you can see he's going after his backhand a little bit more, which is probably the right option. I think Scotty's getting a little bit indecisive on whether he wants to slice or play that topspin backhand. But if he can attack that area, and then you can see he was trying to really open up to go to that forehand side and open up a little bit more. We just happened to tug on it and pull it in the net. But yeah, seeing him go after that backhand and attack it and then find that shot that he's looking for is probably what I want to see from him.
Missing the first serve wide. Again, going wide to the forehand, opening up the backhand wing. Aggressive style there. Jakey Robinson, I mean, he's a terrific athlete. We've said that quite often throughout this broadcast. What would you like to see him do a little bit more of? Do you like to see him move a little bit more forward, be a little bit more aggressive?
Yeah, just there. I just want to see him back his shot. I mean, he had his forehand there. He knew where he wanted to go. He was aggressive as he stepped in. Wouldn't mind seeing him going a bit harder to that net, but I think he just backed his shot there. But yeah, get into the net, back himself, and really have a crack at him. I think if he can keep doing that, just put a bit more pressure on Scotty. You never know what's going to happen.
Words from Rob Kennedy, head of Tennis West. Serve wide. We'll talk about your role after this point. There it is. I mean, we do like the aggressive style, but unfortunately, probably the wrong choice of shot opened up the court down that line. Your shot, your role, I should say, Robbie, head of tennis at Tennis West. What are your primary functions, and what are you focusing on? You're supporting all the clubs, you're supporting grassroots tennis and the participation. What's some of the focus for heads of tennis at Tennis West?
So I'm in charge of the north, and as you alluded to, Michelle's got the south, which she's doing a fantastic job with her team there. So a lot of the north clubs are north of the river now, all the way to the top of the state. So it's a huge area to take care of. Our mantra and our strategic plan has come out as that building thriving tennis communities at the moment. So a part of what that is getting out to the clubs and having a conversation with them and actually trying to listen to them more about who they are, understand them better, getting to know what it is that they're looking for, and then actually structuring an action plan around that on how we can support them. I think one of the biggest misconceptions with Tennis West, and as I said, coming from somebody who was a coach to now working with the organisation, is what we can actually offer. Not only just the resources themselves, but us physically as a team. I've got an incredible team that I'm really proud to lead, and just making sure the clubs know what it is that we have to offer from a club level, a coach level, and then connecting those schools to the clubs is a massive one for us. I know, again, with that coaching background, if we can find those grassroots kids and connect them to the club, it's a really big part of what we're trying to do. And Artie and Fazli is doing a fantastic job as our schools development manager to make that happen.
Head of tennis participation, Rob Kennedy. Some great insight as to what Robbie's doing to build the game from a grassroots perspective. Former coach, and we'll talk about your experience playing in the wildcard mixed doubles player for the Australian Open a few years ago.
It's probably the only credible thing we have to talk about, mate, but I'll take it.
Unfortunately, just moving forward and taking that on the half volley, but you had an opportunity to play in the Australian Open wildcard playoff. They had a great initiative that they ran across all the states, and it was a mixed doubles competition. You were lucky enough to partner up with Kaylee Nichols, one of your good friends and former college player. and then you won the WA leg of that playoff to go across and play the lead up to the Australian Open. How did you find that experience?
Oh, mate, it honestly sits right up there with one of my most enjoyable experiences. The funniest thing about it is, I mean, there's no real pro career to talk about, but when I did sort of hang up the racket and really stop trying to make it in that, especially on the doubles tour or anything like that, this was me and Carle heard about the initiative. We actually saw it as a bit of a warm up to state grade and let's go down and have a bit of a hit and have some fun. We thought everybody would sign up from a WA perspective, and we actually looked at the draw. We said we're a sneaky chance here, and went down. It was at Mount Lawley, and we got through to the final, and we were playing. It was James Connolly, and I want to say Katie O'Shea, but I might be incorrect. But yeah, we won that match, which was fantastic, and got us over to Melbourne.
Great drop shot there from Jakey Robinson, putting the pressure on Scotty Webster. But I mean, it was a wonderful experience, as you made mention. A great initiative too by Tennis Australia to include an opportunity for players, past and present, to get on and get an opportunity to play in the Australian Open in a wildcard situation. Would have made a few dollars for yourself and got put up in the 5-star hotels, Robbie?
No, my family's all over in Melbourne, so we definitely went and stayed there. There wasn't too much money, I can guarantee you that. But to be treated like, you know, you got the player pass, you rocked up on the day. I'm not going to lie, my family came along, and my grandparents too. You know, I always made a pledge that my nana always wanted one of those red seats at the Hopman Cup. I didn't quite get to that ability, but for her to come and watch me play at Melbourne Park during the Australian Open was just absolutely incredible for me. I must admit, we walked out for a bit of a warm-up to start the day, and I did get a little bit of emotion stepping out there and being on those courts in that atmosphere. And you know, you speak to the Matty Ebdons and like, who, you know, you really make sure they don't take it for granted, which he doesn't. He loved every moment, and I tell you what, it was a little bit of a glimpse into what I wish I could have got to, mate. But I'd love to see that initiative come back, and I'd love to see our top junior players get into that WA effort, and you never know what can happen, especially on the doubles court. Everybody knows that. You get a good draw at a doubles tournament, who knows what could happen.
It's true. Players are playing later in their careers now. They've seen the top 100 age blow out to about 80 in the about 30 in the men's top 100, and I think it's about high 20s, 26, 27 in the women's. But last year, I heard a rumour when you were playing that Australian Open wildcard playoff, and just want to get your feedback after we see this point from Jake Robinson, serving closest to the camera. Overplaying that backhand just long, a little bit frustrating for Jakey, just questioning the call. Just challenging. Good mates, but they're just asking the question. Now, very quickly, your experience at the Australian Open, sharing a locker room with some of the best players in the world. Was it true that you took the #1 locker and Roger Federer came up to you and said to you, "Now listen, Junior, know your place. This is my locker"? Any truth to that, rumour?
I was absolutely worried where you were going to go with that, but you've just discredited yourself with all your sources. And normally you're great for a good story, mate. But I think everybody that's listening out there and watching along knows there is absolutely no truth to that whatsoever.
Beautiful play, Jakey Robinson.
It was Rafael Nadal, mate.
It was. I knew it was someone in the top 10.
I said, mate, there's only one lefty in town, mate. No. But just, yeah, incredible experience. I can't talk it up enough. We got to the semi-finals as well, which was unbelievable. Kaylee lets me know every day she can that I missed a crucial volley on a very crucial sudden death point as well. But Gavin von Pappersel, if I've said that correct, and I can't remember his partner, but we were heavily underdogs, and we took him to a super tie in that third. Very surprised they didn't get the win in the final, but if I'm correct as well, one of my biggest disappointments to not winning it was who they played in that first round. They got to play against the winners, got to play Martina Hingis. Wow. And the partner will come to me as well, and that would have been an experience to just tell the grandkids one day for sure.
Maybe Pupardi from India. I think they played
correct,
a lot of
100%. That's exactly what it was. Yep.
As we're watching a beautiful backhand down the line, just pushing wide. It's interesting though, tennis players, and we're listening to Rob Kennedy, head of tennis. Tennis players have wonderful memories, don't they? They can tell you exactly, particularly if you're playing with your partner, at what stage they missed a crucial shot.
Absolutely.
At what time and what the score was.
I'm told, I'm open, I'm absolutely so superstitious. I remember a lot of points as well. That said, though, I was actually having a chat with Scotty Webster last night and said I was a chance to maybe make some special comments today if he could give me any fun facts. I actually reminded him, and this is a big reason why I hang up the rackets, when he gave me a nice little 0-0 in my last playing efforts, and it obviously wasn't a memorable one to him, which I said probably makes sense. See, there's that backhand that I'm talking about, and let's be honest, let's get back to the tennis. It's definitely more exciting than what I have to talk about myself, but that's that backhand that I think Jakey has to keep targeting, and if he can keep making sure that Scotty's just having to think about it, he might be able to turn this around.
Yeah, still on serve. I mean, it was a very quick opening set for Scott Webster, closing it out 6-0. Back on serve here in the second set. You're right. I mean, game of tennis can turn very, very quickly. Just need a couple of solid points, get an opportunity. Play a little long serve there, deep. And the way Jakey's playing, he's actually not off the mark, although that first set suggests otherwise, but there's a lot of... And there we go, double fault. It's been very close contest out here.
I think sometimes you've got to tell yourself as well, when somebody's just playing an incredible set, like from every point that I watched from Scott in that first set, he was hardly missing. I think as I was walking down, Jake made a bit of a joke about it. Is he going to miss a ball? And sometimes you just got to shrug it off and then hope it turns. Jake wasn't missing balls. He wasn't giving too much away. Scott was winning it, and to his credit, well done.
Words from Rob Kennedy, head of tennis at Tennis West, joining Tom George and I today. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast. Big serve down the tee, heavy. I mean, you're pretty good at the old lefty serve. What would you, from kilometres per hour, what would you suggest that was down the tee? Heavy, 180?
Oh no, well it depends. So down the tee on the juice side, obviously I was using a bit more of the slice. I would go a bit heavier out wide. I think that having a left-hand serve is the only thing that sort of helped me get anywhere. Let's go with 180. That sounds good, mate. But who knows? Definitely not getting the shoulder around the way I used to.
A little long. A little bit of breeze swirling around here. The second serve, a little bit tricky. Slowed it down. A deep response. Lovely touch. No, just up to that nicely. Good wheels from Scotty Webster. Works incredibly hard on his off-court conditioning. I'd love to see these both boys in a straight line run over 50 metres. Tell you what, it'd be a good contest, because Jakey's got some great wheels himself. Yeah,
I was on the way down thinking about it, and I think the only person I see more at the State Tennis Centre other than yourself, and that's saying something, is Scotty Webster. He's training really hard out with the likes of Tom George and Lenny Cannell and all the players who come down and train. I think you see him every day, and it's a credit to how he's performing, and you can see what he's doing. But the way that he is whipping that forehand when it's below the net, he's hitting that ball extremely well today.
Sound advice from former super coach Rob Kennedy, now head of tennis at Tennis West. Some great insights, great left-hander. Hearing about his wildcard playoff to the Australian Open at the mixed doubles. Beautiful play, love that, good court coverage, love that aggressive style of play. Now back to your experience, you went to college, and college back in my day wasn't all that mainstream, but your experience at college, you enjoyed it, good tennis program, got a lot out of it?
Yeah, loved it. I was lucky enough to actually go over when I was 15, so I left Hale School halfway through year 11, and the plan for me was to go over and have a year of high school as an exchange student, and then come back into my age group, because I was actually upper grade in school, and just loved every experience over there. I was lucky enough to go to Corona Del Mar High School, which Taylor Dent, a former player there, which was great to be a part of his squad, and a highly ranked national team. So realised very quickly that I was nowhere near as good as I needed to be, and that really pushed me to another level. And then went to the Wild Tennis Academy for year 12, which was up in Ojai near Santa Barbara. And then graduating at 16, I thought, definitely too young to go to college just yet, and came home, and what was then the Queensland Satellites is what I was lucky enough to go and play before going back to America and playing a little bit more, and lucky enough to get a scholarship to Loyola Marymount University, Div 1 school in LA, which I can't preach highly enough, and to all the players that I coached back here when I started coaching, and I can't speak highly enough of the system over there. You can go over there as someone, as I said, my ability was never going to be at a level that I wanted to, but to still pursue it, to get a degree and play tennis at a high level was just an experience I can't speak highly enough of.
My name is Brett Patten, sitting alongside Rob Kennedy, Dalkeith Tennis Club State League, round number 3. Now, you always tell me off for telling this story, but your college days, and it's famously known that you used to date one of the Hollywood starlets. Now, Is that something you don't want to touch upon?
Well, surely you read my. I had a little page that I go. What's it called? I don't classify myself as a celebrity, but there's the no-go questions, mate. There's the no-go questions. But,
we won't name names then, but we will say she was quite the star on The Big Bang Theory.
If that's highly talked about enough, we don't need to talk about it further. And there's a quality match out here in Court 1. If I can absolutely deflect as best as possible, mate.
Tell you what, you might have been a cricketer in your day, just padding up just nicely there, the straight bat. As we see Jakey Robinson just pushing that forehand wide. I'm going to cut across to court number 2. James Newton serving after winning the first set against Jarron Stafford, 7 games to 5, I should say. Your experience with Jarron Stafford over the years, you're about the same sort of vintage, I think, Robbie. What do you know about Jarron Stafford?
I think you're being a bit harsh to himself. I think he's a bit younger than I am. I think, and this is where that crossover happened. So me going over to the States when I was 15, I kind of missed that half generation behind me in a sense. So we've never played each other. I've definitely know who he is and definitely seen him play, and actually really impressed with how he's playing today. And if we put him in the older guys category, he's waving the flag well for us out there against Jimmy Newton. But yeah, counter-punch style. You can see it out there today, which is great, and making James earn every point out there. But yeah, really impressed by how he's going. But no, we never actually had a match on court.
James Newton serving closer to the camera, currently leading by a set. On serve in the second set, 2 games apiece. As you can see, there's Josiah Tyson sitting courtside for Dalkeith for young James Newton. You can do that in State League just to give your teammates a bit of a pep talk. Josiah Tyson, former captain of the men's State League side here for many years for Dalkeith. Now it's Ollie Henderson, who's currently playing court behind against Sam Ashenden, currently leading by a set and on serve in the second set. Beautiful play there, lovely overhead smash, just pushing it wide, James Newton. Just having a look, just asking the question of him. It looks like a break of serve there.
I've got to be honest, it's been one of the very fair play out here today, which has been great to see. There's been a couple of tight ones, but they've all been called in, which is great. There's a lot of good sportsmanship going on out there. In regards to the coaching rule, one of my favourite rules. One of my favourite rules of state grade. As a coach myself, I used to step out for our North Beach state grade girls. I loved being out on court. It was one of my more enjoyable things to do. I think it's a nice initiative and rule that's just stayed there, which is great.
On the WTA, they can bring out their coaches. I mean, would you like to see that rule implemented at Grand Slams? Do you think it's necessary? I like the fact that it's mano-mano, woman-o-woman-o, that real one-on-one combat, and you have to think yourself through a match. But are you comfortable? You think they should change the rules so the coaches can get involved a little bit more? Because of course you can't. Certainly coaches sitting courtside, they can't even sort of do hand signals or gesture or talk to their players. Beautiful bouncing forehand cross court by Jake. But would you be in favour of coaches being more involved?
I'm a big one. When it comes to tennis being probably tennis court's the most loneliest place in the world, and I think it's what makes our sport incredible. As much as I talk about the idea here, and I think it's a great initiative maybe for our coaches to get out, especially to our younger players, and work through it. I think at Grand Slam level, I'd like to see the players work it out for themselves. I think that's what sets us apart from other sports. We can't call timeouts, although you get the odd toilet break. That's a few things happening there, but I love seeing a player work it out, and I think that's what separates the best from the rest.
Words from Robbie Kennedy, head of Tennis West. Beautiful serve down the tee. Great return from Scotty Webster. Lovely touch, if you don't mind, and just lovely hands from Jake Robinson. Scotty Webster had a look at that ball rolling across the court, but to your point, there was fairness. He knew that he was gone. If that ball had landed, and it did, there was no way he was going to call play 2 because the ball rolled across the court. But there's a lot tighter here in this second set. You spoke about it. It's just making sure that Jakey stays in the match. And it's 3 games apiece here in this second set. Jake Robinson, furthest from the camera from Kings Park, lost the opening set 6 games to love against Scotty Webster.
I think that first serve percentage is going to be extremely important. I think Jakey's starting to increase that percentage as we've gone through the match. He's finding that flatter one as well, and he's imposing himself with the net a lot more as this match goes on, and really making Scotty have to earn it, which is good to see.
pushed it long. Nice aggressive play, just forcing Jake into that backhand corner. Of course, third set's a super tiebreaker here. First 2 sets played to 6 or 7 if you get to a tiebreak, but the third set isn't a set. It's the first to 10 points in the super tiebreaker. As the wind starts to pick up, commentary booth here, just getting blown around a little bit, Robbie. Don't worry, you won't get blown away. Scotty Webster closest to the camera serving.
Can I deflect the questions then? I'm going to turn that question to you. Well, what do you think about the super tie for the third? Where do you sit with that?
Chip backhand. Beautiful, just working the ball around. Jake Robinson sees an opportunity. That's caught the line. He's going to have another look at it. I think Scotty's having a look up. Just had a look at the commentary box here. Probably would have called that wide.
I thought it was wide as well, which again just alludes to the point. But yeah, third set.
Third set tiebreaker. I do like the super tiebreaker in the third set. They play a super tiebreaker in the third set in the ATP Men's Tour. We do it here for State League, and I think the players are really gravitated towards it. It's exciting. It's Russian roulette. It's a real shootout. And as we know, anything can happen in a tiebreaker, so I'm in favour, Robbie.
Just wide.
Mind you, I was on the committee that implemented the super tiebreaker, so I can't say anything against it.
That's a very good point.
As a player, though, I probably wouldn't have liked it. I probably would have played a third set. Given I'm not playing anymore, Robbie.
After this point.
A little bit lazy on that. Didn't move the feet, Robbie.
For me as a player, if I was in Scott Webster's position right now, winning that first set so comfortably, Jake's turning it around and making it tight. If he happened to push that to a third set, that's one of those moments as a player I go, not a fan, because I think I'm maybe playing the better tennis out there, and I'd rather that longer format, because as we know, anybody can win the second you get there. But yeah, it's exciting. We know we want things to be a little bit quicker as well. It's just the way that the world's going, and yeah, if that's going to bring more people to the game and a bit more excitement, then absolutely all for it.
Big serve down the middle, swinging ball out to the backhand wing. Nice chip, just changing his game style here. Opportunity, move forward, takes it out, and just puts away nicely. I agree with you. I think as a player, the super tiebreaker is just such a Russian roulette. More often than not, I used to back myself in a third set. But when you get into a tiebreaker again, 1 or 2 mini breaks here, start to tighten up a little bit. And you could probably lose a match that ordinarily, if it was a normal set, you wouldn't have. But it does create that little element of excitement. We see Scotty Webster just lining up here, waiting to serve, on serve. Certainly this match is starting to tighten up a little bit, Robbie.
Yeah, you can see the pace off the ball is not where it was, but they're both looking for that short ball. I think it's sort of who gives in first when they're battling it out of the baseline. It's who's giving up that short ball first. Clearly both attacking that backhand as they approach, and then I think more times than not that person who's got to the net has taken out the point.
4 games to 3, Scotty Webster, after winning the first set, 6 games to love for Dalkeith. The boys change ends, so we kick across to court number 2. Jarron Stafford closest to the camera for Kings Park, up against James Newton. Give you an update of that set score. James Newton winning the opening set 7 games to 5. And Jarron Stafford's currently on serve here in the second set, 2 games to 1. Missing a backhand, short backhand. Does hit with a lot of flatness, not a lot of margin for Jarron Stafford on his shots as we change ends, 3 games to 2 to James Newton. We'll kick across back to the commentary booth here at Dalkeith Tennis Club. And perfect conditions, albeit there's a little bit of breeze around. You can see the tennis banners in the background just blowing around. But it's been an incredible day's play, and again the punches have come down in droves here. You're enjoying.
Yeah, it's a great turnout, and I was having a think before, if this does go to a third set tiebreaker, I mean, you'll just see them gravitate towards this court because you know when it happens. But fantastic turnout, and as we said, I mean, if you're not going to rock up and watch tennis on a day like this with this kind of a matchup, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Well, you've snuck out. I know you've got a young Leo's at home with your beautiful wife, so he's just skipping, is he, or you sort of I snuck away, did you?
No, I took the whole morning duty today, so Saturday mornings is...
Got the leave pass?
Yeah, earned the leave pass, I like to say, mate. Earned the leave pass, but no, to my wife at home, you're doing a fantastic job. Well done. I'm sure she's listening.
All those mothers out there, they always do a fantastic job.
Do.
Big swinging serve, moving forward, just Nice and deep. Yeah, I like that. Just the ball's holding up, that wind. And we can see Scotty Webster, he's not getting the purchase on the ball that he did in that first set. He's starting to feel a little bit more threatened now. The scoreboard pressure is starting to mount. He's currently leading 3-2 on serve, but he's not getting the free willies he did in that first set. And we can start to see that in his passing shots. Beautiful, ball just kept moving away. But what I've noticed, Robbie, is the pace of ball from Jake isn't as ferocious as it was in the probably first set and a half. He's taken some pace off it, making Scotty generate his own pace, and that's causing Scotty Webster some real challenges out here in the second set.
I think it's hard to tell from here. We can see the wind and we can feel it a little bit. I think end to end is they're having to change their style right now. I think it's very different from the end that Jake's at right now compared to Scott and how they're having to play. I think he's got to trust himself with a shot like that and see what he does here.
Yeah, just frustrating. I mean, too heavy on the foot there. Just really got to keep the feet moving, keep that weight moving foot through the shot. And on that occasion, he was too flat-footed at the back of the court. I mean, great pedigree. Comes from a great family of tennis. Jake Robinson, his father, Kurt Robinson, and one of the best players back in the 80s and 90s. And his grandmother, Margaret, a Hall of Famer for Tennis Seniors Australia.
And I've had more battles with Kurt than I have Jake, and incredible player on the grass. You always knew when you were coming up against Kurt, you had a battle on your hands, and even out on the clays. Oh, I tell you what, out on the clays, it was, good night. You know, prepare yourself, slather up with some sunscreen because you knew you were going to be out there for a while, and you had to earn every point. He was a great player and a great bloke as well to go with it.
Physical game that he played, diving around the courts, whether it be grass, hard or clays. Always comes off the court with a little bit of claret on the elbows or the knees. Taking a bit of skin off. Jakey serving closer to the camera. Jake Robinson from Kings Park. Beautiful 1-2, moving forward and missing. Gee whiz, he's just starting to unravel here in this. And he has dropped serve. We didn't see that coming. He's playing really good tennis in this second set. And much to the relief of Scotty Webster, missing that overhead smash to capture a break here. First break in this second set, leading 4-2. Scott Webster furthest from the camera.
You can see he's upset with himself there. He didn't have to do it. Scotty had sort of conceded that point. I think just your routine sort of slicing smash out to the left court, and he would have been all right. But yeah, he's a bit disappointed. But you know, Scotty's got to earn it now with some first serves and hopefully get some freebies. But I wouldn't count Jake out here to definitely make Scott earn it for sure.
A couple of scores from around the grounds. In the Women's State League, Greenwood playing Alexander Park at Greenwood. Currently, Alexander Park leading 1-2. Peyton Duckett defeated Sanvi Tak 6-2, 6-2. And Justine Hayward-Janey from Greenwood's currently leading Jasmine Carswell from Alexander Park 6-4, 4-1. Other matches being played in the Women's State League. Cottesloe up against Royal Kings Park. Ruby Cully got the first set from Tiwa Casey from Kings Park, 7-5. And Brooke Campbell from Kings Park defeated Libby Muzarat 6-1, 6-1.
Scotty Webster just double faulting on the first points out here. I don't know how many he's done of them today, but I haven't seen too many. So you can tell it's tight. You can tell that wind's definitely maybe troubling him as he goes for a bit of a kick out nearly for a first serve there.
Chip and charge. Yeah, there unfortunately does not. And the last match being played across the Women's State League at the moment, top of the table, Hensman Park, currently leading 3-0. But the match of that round, Lily Fairclough is currently a set all with Talia Gibson. Lily got the second set 6-3 after losing the first set 6-4 to Talia. Anya Dokic on the first set 6-1 and the second 6-love against Ruby Broadbent. Kezia Vujicic defeated Gay Leong 6-3, 6-1, and Ella Nurkic defeated Emma Black 6-1, 7-5 of them. Getting all sorts of hand signals from Tommy O. It's currently 5-3 on this top court.
I think we'll find that it's 15:30 possibly out on this court right now. I think Jake just took that point. So I think Scotty's got to trust his first serve here. He's got to stay aggressive and back himself.
Beautiful play.
Courage.
It was courage and good athleticism too from Jakey Robinson to dig himself into a real chance here to get back on serve here in this second set.
We talked about his dad's touch, and I think he's shown a little bit of there. Speaking of the old father-son combo, you've got Peter Schoolgate and Tristan Schoolgate, the similar sort of things that you see there. It's great to see. I think that's what our sport's all about, isn't it? That continual generational change, but still playing at a top level and carrying that Robinson name extremely well.
Absolutely, some great father-sons and mother-daughter combinations playing over the years for WA State League through the league competitions. Opportunity missed again. The weight moving back for Jakey Robinson.
As he's demonstrated there, I think a couple of times that he's fallen back and then just fallen short on it as well. Maybe that wing's in the back of his mind there, but you can see him fixing his shot there. I've got a feeling it's 30-40 out here. I still think he's got another break point if I'm correct.
Overplaying, but gee whiz, clutch point from Jake Robinson. I think you were right. I think that was a break-back point opportunity. Overplayed the forehand, little wide. Had Scotty Webster moving from side to side. Comes down to a matter of inches and decision-making.
And this is where he's just got to forget about it now. And it's juice. You've got yourself in a good position to get this break back. And he's playing well, making Scott earn it. So juice here now.
Scotty Webster, ready to serve. Taking a bit more time. Missing that first serve down the tee. He'd start to feel a little bit of pressure here. He knows serving for this match. Never easy to win. A little doubt creeps into your mind. Serving for a match or a set. Closing in on Scotty Webster here. All overplaying. Gee whiz, I did like that play though. Forcing the point. Just pushing that a little long. And Scotty Webster, I tell you, he would have breathed a sigh of relief as he steps up with his first match point against Jake Robinson to give Dalkeith a 1-Robert-to-love head start. There it is. Big opportunity there for Dalkeith to get off to a nice start. 1 game to love. Great match up there. 6 games to love, 6 games to 3. First win for Dalkeith. Scotty Webster, I mean, what can you say about that second part of that second set there, Robbie Kennedy?
He just showed his class still. I mean, Jake made him earn it for sure. Pushed him hard, especially even in that last game, getting a 15-40 there to really push him. But I mean, Scott Webster, as we said earlier, he's worked hard in his game, he's been training really well. In that first set, it was very clear. He used his wide serve a lot, he was using his cross-court forehand. He made the change a little bit, especially with this wind. You could see him looking to approach to that backhand a little bit more as Jake Robinson pushed him really hard. But yeah, quality match, and you've got to give the credit to him.
Tell you what, just looking around the grounds here, there's some absolute WA superstars in and around this crowd. We're seeing Tony Lutrell. We're going to get Tony Lutrell on camera in a moment's time to talk about his experience in WA tennis, but watching some of the still running as we're talking off camera to Tony Lutrell. He likes to just have a bit of a chat in and around, doesn't he? But he was one of the great players at WA tennis.
Oh, he's got a lot more to talk about than I do, that's for sure.
He's got a lot more to talk about. We'll just get him on camera right now. Tony Lutrell, we might get you to sit down and have a bit of a chat to us there, Tony Lutrell.
Love to, Mr. CEO.
Mr. CEO,
I'm going to hand it over to a little bit more WA royalty. Thanks for having me, Brett.
We're going to get it.
Well, let's talk about the State League rather than the ATP tournament as we have Tony Lutrell sitting there, one of the great players from that. I mean, your experience is just, we could stay here and write a book about it, but spent a lot of your time over in Germany playing a lot of tennis over there. What was your experience like with German team tennis?
Mate, I think it's one of the experiences that made me the person that I am today with the Western Australian tennis fraternity and Germany fraternity, and we had a great bond with Germany. And I think we should try and pick that up again, because I'm looking at the hard courts. I'm not looking at the clay courts.
Yep. Yeah.
And we've still got 65% of clay court tournaments being played around the world. So I know Australia's trying hard, but we need to try harder.
Talking to Tony Lutrell, one of the great players from WA tennis for many years. I mean, you're right. There was a great relationship with German clubs, and a lot of Australians were playing German club tennis. Why do you think that's dropped off? Is it the Europeans now come at a cheaper price? Is it easy for the Europeans? I mean, what do you think? Where do you think that change happened?
The Germans have decided to play golf. And that's a fact.
Right.
They did the tennis thing in the 80s. And they built all the tennis clubs and they built all the tennis courts and they got everybody over and they built their tennis programs and the Steffi and the Boris and everything else, and it was magnificent. But they've tapered off. But it's up to Australia now to build that relationship back up, because they can help us and we can help them. So it would be something that we need to look at.
Let's talk about your experience here in WA tennis, playing state league. Some of the wonderful talent that's come out, certainly throughout your era. You grew up in the 70s and you were dominant in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, some of the great talent that you've played against in your time here in WA tennis?
Oh, look, I hate to blow it up your ass. Can I say that? But your brother was one of the greatest. The Dave Cullys and the Mark Lubers, but they weren't really in my time.
No.
Before then, you had the Pembos and the Caseys and the Philippousses and all these kind of guys coming through. And state grade was huge back then, huge. I mean, we used to play tournaments with 64 draws,
yep.
or maybe 128 in some tournaments. I don't know what the tournaments are doing these days, but it's diminished as far as the guys playing enough tournaments here in Western Australia. So they do have to now go away more than we did, because the number of talented players has diminished in Western Australia, unfortunately.
Yeah, it certainly changed. There's no question about that. And I think the format has changed, and a lot of the players were playing a lot older too. I think when you gave it away, you were probably still playing well deep into your 30s, if not into your 40s. We don't see that so much anymore.
Well, Brett, you actually beat me in my last game of state grade.
Did I?
I was 43. I don't know what that leaves you at. We're getting hammered here. But 43 on clay at the clay courts. I thought, it's time for me to give it away now. It's time for me to give it away. It absolutely took me apart. But
did I? Well,
yeah,
you're very kind. You probably would have gifted me that match. But as we're getting blown around here at Dalkeith Tennis Club, I mean, you've played for a lot of clubs and coached at a lot of clubs throughout your WA career. I think the last coaching you were doing was at Wembley Tennis Club.
Yes, I finished up at Wembley. I had a few German clubs that I was trying to run at the same time, and I had to make the decision whether to stay in Perth or go back to Germany. And I really did enjoy the Germany tennis fraternity. They were going ahead in leaps and bounds, and they were progressing. Western Australia still has to look at their pennant formats and their tournament programs, because there's just not enough for the young up-and-coming kids.
Now, some of the girls you used to coach over in Germany, you had some great talent too that you were coaching in Germany, and you got them out here to play a lot of the tournaments and a lot of the state league, women's state league. I mean, do you still keep in contact with a lot of the athletes that you used to look after in Germany?
I do. Svenja Weidemann, she's still playing tennis in Germany. I think she's maybe 35 now or 38. Still playing the seniors tour in Europe. She's absolutely loves the days that she spent here in Western Australia with Sargent and family, and playing at Raybould, and we toured around Australia and played the satellites and all that. That's what I was referring to. Bringing the Germans here because they love it, but also going to Germany. There was a great relationship between Western Australia and Germany, and I think there's an opportunity if Tennis West and Tennis Australia want to rebuild that, because I think Germany needs to rebuild their tennis program also, because they don't have a lot of players in the world rankings at the moment, and maybe one day Germany will decide, okay, let's bring them back up.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned the ITF over 35s. I mean, there is certainly life in the game. The Masters now, the seniors is now classified as 30 plus. So you've played a lot of world championships. You've travelled the worlds, well into your 30s and 40s and 50s, playing at the elite level. I mean, there is life after professional tennis, isn't there?
Absolutely. And I mean, you build a life. You may not make enough money playing tennis professionally, but you've got the opportunity to work in the German clubs or the Switzerland clubs or the French clubs, and then they've got their own programs over there. So you can actually play tennis and teach tennis and make a pretty good living.
Pretty good living.
Yeah.
And I understand, and I know even the over 30s, the German teams do like to invite. A lot of the best players in the over age or the seniors are Australian players. So I look at Glenn Busby, who's the coach at Kooyong, and he goes and plays Bundesliga over 60 tennis and gets paid a pretty penny to do that. So there is an opportunity for players of all ages to continually playing, and if they didn't reach their potential, when they're in their teens or 20s, there's an opportunity to still play at the highest level anywhere across the world because tournaments are played all across the globe.
Absolutely, and I think this is where the straight grade players, the 18, 19-year-olds who are playing good tennis here, they have to open up their minds and look at other avenues. I mean, they're not going to make enough money here in Perth. We all know that. Prize money is not enough, but they can open up going to Germany, going to France, play the club tennis, teach over there, play the satellites. They can rebirth themselves playing some tennis on the clay courts over in Europe. Hate to harp on the clay courts.
No, well, you do love the clay. We're talking to Tony Lutrell, one of the greats from WA Tennis. We might just cut to a bit of a break while we wait for the doubles to come on. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Lutz, and great to have your insight into your experiences with tennis in WA. And no doubt you're one of the first to get me to talk about getting a Hall of Champions up for Tennis West.
Well
and
done there.
You could potentially find yourself in that Hall of Champions one day.
I've got another 10 years to go, mate. I'll wait.
Good on you, Lutrell. Look forward to chatting with you later on.
Thanks,
Cheers,
buddy.
mate.
Good on you.
Tony Lutrell, one of the greats from WA Tennis, as we just have a quick break and we'll come back with some more doubles. We're going to have a quick chat to one of the up-and-coming stars here of the Dalkeith Tennis Club State League side. I'll give you that microphone, James Newton. You're talking to camera number one here. Let's talk a little bit about your performance today. How did you find, big match against Jarron Stafford?
Yeah, first set was tricky. I couldn't break. A lot of times I'd break points and then he'd get out of it. But no, it was really good the first set. And I got lucky to 6-5, lots of juices. And I played a good match point and grabbed the
Mate, you certainly did. And you've also been playing 3 hours of tennis for Christchurch against Hale today. How's the fitness? Obviously it didn't seem to impact you today, but you're doing a lot of time on and off the court. So you don't think the extra tennis this morning has impacted your fitness to close out that match today?
Oh, sometimes, yeah. My legs are a bit sore and a bit tired at times, but just for the team, I got to push through. And I love the environment. It's really good.
How was your PSA tennis with Christchurch? The PSA competition when I was playing back in the 80s, James, for your club, for your school, I should say, was very strong. What's it like, the PSA competition, the Core Cup? Is it a high level?
Yeah, it's still, the team environment's really competitive. Everyone gets around each other. I think when I first played in Year 7, it was really strong. Like we had Hendo, I played with him in my first year.
Ollie Henderson?
Yes. Yep. Christian Harding. And now it's me and Sam English who play 1 and 2, and we have a lot of younger boys in now, but it's still a really great environment. I really enjoy it.
Now, what are you doing with your tennis? You're training with the Dyer boys, Ash and Brad Dyer. They've had a lot of impact, certainly a lot of influence over you for a good number of years. Are you out at Greenwood? Are you also working with the State Tennis Centre development team with Tommy George?
Yeah, in the school holidays I went with Len Cannell and Tommy in the mornings with Scott, Webster and some of the older boys, which was really good for me. Just hitting with those experienced college guys, and so yeah, it's great. And then I hit with Ash and Brad. I try not to go out of Greenwood; it's pretty far. We find some alternatives, but no, it's good.
Oh, it's good. Outstanding form today too. Jarron Stafford he's a quality player. He's been a real journeyman in the game of tennis for many years. Has had some great wins at state league level. So you produce some great tennis out there. You're hitting the ball very hard from the back of the court. You get great hands, good movement around. What are you generally working on off the court? If you're not on the court hitting a lot of balls, what are you doing off the court to keep your conditioning in great shape?
I do a bit of gym work and a bit of running, but I think because for the tennis, I try to do a lot of interval training and sprints and stuff. But and then with the tennis wise, probably trying to work on if you could see there, I was hitting the lines a lot, trying to paint them a bit too much. So sometimes I just loosen up and try just put my areas, get my zones back. But yeah.
hit your spots. I mean, you played for Henderson Park last year. Congratulations on winning the State League. You butted up now with Dalkeith. Why have you changed? Why have you jumped ships there, James? Are they paying a little bit more money this year?
No, not the pay. I think just because I just want to play higher up the order, and I've been hitting with Scott. So it's always nice to have him around. He's a really good mentor for me. So
it's been a lot of years since Dalkeith have actually won a state league here. I think probably 20 plus years. So a lot of expectation this year. And you're feeling fairly confident. In the first 2 rounds, the Dalkeith went down by 2 games in 2 games. I mean, you're starting to feel like it's a long season. We know you're starting to feel like you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think first 2 games don't decide the whole tournament. So we had very close ones, but I think the older boys starting to hit more, and like Mike was coming in now, and he's really got some spirit on him. So it's always nice to have these older boys in. And, it's really good.
And you're missing B.Webster in the singles today.
Yes.
Generally, he's one of the top 4 players. Is there any real concerns around his fitness?
I'm not sure. I think he played a good match against Jerome, very close. I think they always have close ones, but I think we'd like to swap some of the older boys, and Hendo wanted to have a go. They're all keen to get in the action, but it's just deciding who gets in. So, yeah. Well,
I think you've solidified your spot certainly high up the order in the top 2 or 3 at least, and you're playing some great tennis. Really enjoyed your match out there.
Yep.
You'll be able to get to see yourself on replay tonight, so you can pick together some where you need to improve. But well done, mate. Looking forward to seeing you in your doubles out there later on.
Great, thanks a lot.
James Newton,
Thank you.
high performing from Dalkeith Tennis Club, as he just steps out and has a bit of a chat to his fellow teammates, talk about what doubles combinations they're going to start preparing for, playing out here at Dalkeith Tennis Club. In round number 3, Dalkeith coming up against Royal Kings Park. We're going to grab Scotty Webster, the number 1 player for Dalkeith. You would have seen him in today's edition of the West Australian, and he was talking all about his match up against Jake Robinson, and he's just about to join us now as Tommy George also jumped in. He'll sit between us like a rose amongst thorns as we welcome Scotty Webster to the telecast today. Well done out there today, mate. You played a solid match. First set, 6-love against a quality player in Jakey Robinson. I mean, tighten up in the second bit, but your first set, let's look at the first set. Just you're hitting from the hips. You didn't seem to have too many issues out there with errors.
Yeah, I felt pretty good on the forehand side. He put me out wide a couple of times, and I seemed to kind of counter it pretty well into a corner, so that definitely felt good. A bit tight on the backhand side throughout the match. I probably went away from the slice, which was neutralising him a little bit. But then, I started trying to find some forehands, and I got through the tough games in the second. So. Yeah,
he certainly did. I mean, what I found in that second set, Jake started to slow the pace down a little bit. He started throwing a little bit more slice around, just changing the style and changing the game. And you were struggling. You were sort of talking under your breath a little bit halfway through that second set. And then when you got that break, you seemed to just power away again.
Yeah, I was just trying to get myself to get my legs going. I felt on the backhand side I was maybe getting a bit lazy with my leg drive, my left leg, which makes my hands kind of tighten up a little bit. So that's something we've been working on. So, I was just trying to yell at myself a bit, trying to get myself fired up a bit. It's the only way I kind of get myself going sometimes. So yeah.
And the atmosphere out here at Dalkeith, I mean, nice little crowd here building. They're very supportive. I was just talking to James Newton. You haven't won the State League title for some years, and talking about the pressure, I used the number 1 and probably the best player in WA. Do you feel that extra pressure to try and lift Dalkeith to a premiership this year?
I wouldn't say there's pressure on me as the best player. I'd probably give that to Scotty Jones. But, at number 1, everyone's good. It's kind of like when I was in college. Everyone's good at number 1, so there's no weeks off. So I think you just got to approach it that way, and some weeks you'll lose, guys will play well, and some weeks you win. And when you win, you got to go home, maybe have a nice pizza and call it a day. That's what I like to do anyway. So, yeah.
Now, you are working out there with Tommy George and Lenny Cannell at the State Tennis Centre most days. Good group of young athletes out there too, all competing against each other, all playing high up the order in the WA State League. I mean, the camaraderie and the culture, it really just starts creating, some great competition, but, the players just get better each time they get onto court.
Yeah, totally agree. I think it's great when John and Astra, and even when Jason Kubler was over here, it was great for guys like me to kind of push ourselves. And then when those guys aren't here, it's great for guys like James and Marco and Matty Burton to come out, and they push themselves. So it's good. We all drive each other. We see someone having a good result overseas, and the group chat's blowing up. So it's good. Tommy G with a lot of emojis, but it's great.
Now let's talk about the match between James Newton and Jarron Stafford. Did you get a chance? You were playing by his court, and you do like to yell across the courts and fire your teammates up. I mean, what can you tell us about young James Newton? A lot of talent, great young kid, and gee whiz, he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, he definitely does. I think the big thing for James right now is he's playing 4 matches in a day with school tennis, so he can go off the boil a little bit. concentration when you're playing that many games in a day, it's tough to focus. So earlier in the first set, he was struggling a bit. You could kind of hear him talking to himself, and I just said, James, expect good from Jarron. Jarron's a really good player, like he hasn't played a match much this season, but when he middles one, he middles it.
Yeah,
so
he sure does. He really leans
really
in on
talented,
it.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, some great hands, both players. They play a very similar game, and some of the other teammates. You've got Ollie Henderson out there. He was playing against Sam Ashenden. I'm unsure of that result. Who won that match?
Ollie won in straight, so that's a big one for us. So. And
that's a surprising win. I know Sammy Ashenden would have come in high hopes of getting a win, certainly for Kings Park. And on the last court, you've got. Who's playing out there at the last court?
Dallinger and Michael Offerman, which I've been really close mates of mine since I was very young, so it's kind of funny watching them out there. My mum's probably conflicted who to go for because she's had them both over so many sleepovers growing up, and same with Dad. He probably doesn't recognise them, but two great guys out there having a battle. It's good to watch.
Well, Ben Dallinger, I mean, he's a good mate of yours, also a good mate of Jakey Robinson from Kings Park. He was a real good talent as a junior, Ben Dallinger. Then he went away and played a little bit of football. Now he's found himself back playing tennis. Great to have him back first and foremost. But what can you tell us about Ben Dallinger?
I actually haven't seen Ben since junior, since he stepped away from tennis. Obviously, I went to the US, and I think Ben stayed around here to study. So I haven't actually seen him in years. So he's still way taller than me. So
well, he is. He's certainly grown. He's a big tall unit and probably better suited to playing a little bit of football. But he's playing some good tennis out there at the moment. What can you tell us about your doubles lineup? You're going into the doubles pretty confident?
I don't know yet. I think we'll keep the Websters apart. We'll share the love around.
Is there any? Your brother should have played singles, or generally does play singles. He's part of your top 3 or 4 players. Is there anything you need to be concerned about? Is there a fitness issue or an injury issue?
It is actually. He slipped over in singles last week, and my brother being my brother, he couldn't be bothered going to the physio this week, so he just said, I'm not playing singles. So,
and he's just going to butter up on the half a court in doubles.
Serve +1. That's the plan. So.
Is it just time to serve and step off the court? That's probably what you need to do.
Least amount of work possible.
Yeah, Tommy George and Scotty Webster, by his own admission, he's in the top couple male players in the state at the moment. Scotty Jones, I mean, your only loss for the last 8 matches you've played in singles was to Scotty Jones.
Twice, yeah.
I mean, what's your head-to-head like with Scotty? I mean, he's a tremendous talent. He won the Australian 18s titles a few years ago, went away and played 3 or 4 years at college. You did struggle with him a couple of weeks ago. What do you think that is the case?
I don't feel like it actually, like I played bad. I actually felt like I played a pretty good match. He was hitting corners, and I think everyone knows in the state when Jonesy's hot, he's hot, and you have to hope that you don't go through too many pairs of shoelaces chasing all the balls down. So, I was running tight. I was pretty sore. I was still pretty sore from that match.
Now you got a talent lineup here at Dalkeith. You are currently sitting 5th. The first 2 rounds you lost by 2 games and 2 games. Who are some of the teams really to look out for this year that are really stamping themselves early in the season that you suspect will go deep in this state league season?
Well, I think we played 2 of the toughest teams the first 2 weeks. Like Cottesloe is very deep. You got Max Weir, Sam English, and obviously Scotty and Will at the top is probably the best one too in the league at the minute. So it's tough, and then AP is so deep. You go beyond the 4, you've got 6, 7 guys that are really deep. Josh Bowen with that cheeky lefty slider and those unbelievable volleys. So it's really, they've got a deep team. So we knew we played some good teams straight up. So we want a result from today. So hopefully we get one. Yeah,
no doubt about that. You want to be positioning yourself in the finals contentions and keep a nice momentum going. Let's talk about your development. I mean, you went away to college for a good couple of years and really enjoyed your time over there. You came back a better player. There's no question about that. I mean, what's the next couple of years look like for Scotty Webster?
It's been with COVID. It's been a real kind of thrown me around a bit. I was supposed to be in England completing my masters and competing for the tennis team over there. So that would have given me a chance to travel and play a bit. But obviously, I'm here, so I've been doing it online. But I think it's been great for me just working my physicality a little bit this year. I've had a couple of niggles the last few years, so I think it's just getting on top of that. And then, we'll see. I would love. I've never played a pro actual ITF or futures, but I think my singles is good enough. I definitely think my doubles is. So if I get an opportunity, it would be fun to do it. Now that I've got 2 degrees behind me, so
well,
hopefully.
You
crossed.
don't need any more degrees, mate. I think you can stop at 2. That's all you
Well,
really
luckily
need, mate.
I paid for them. So
Yeah, all right,
I haven't put my parents in too much debt.
Is that right?
I paid for my master's.
All right,
degree,
very
so,
good, very good. With all the extra money you're making on the side here playing for Dalkeith. Now, listen.
It's
certainly not the case.
Durham's not that cheap.
Now, listen. Thank you, mate. Looking forward to watching you in the doubles. Congratulations again on your match up against Jakey Robinson. Congratulations on the big article in today's paper. I'm sure that everyone will certainly know who you are now.
Stick it at Scotch College this morning, so I got through it. The parents are having a good old chuckle. So
enjoy it, mate. Now you're a personality, so well done. You're A-lister here in Perth as we cut back to Tommy George. Good luck in your doubles.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
Scotty Webster, one of the best players in WA, playing number 1 here at Dalkeith Tennis Club. Tremendous match against Jakey Robinson. I mean, it's certainly a quality, world-class match. And Tom George, welcome back. You sort of disappeared there for a little while. Just went and sort of mingled with some of the talent here at Dalkeith.
Yeah, I was enjoying watching the 3 and 4th positions down the end. There's some absolutely cracking matches down there, and God, what an amazing atmosphere at the club today. All the grass courts, I've got all the social players on. I was watching a bit of the Division 6 players down the bottom and some huge come-ons, and then they've got the bar open, and it's a real scene down here at Dalkeith Tennis Club. But what a match that was by S.Webster, and God, he interviews well. I think he's got a career in the media coming up.
Well, some of his mates were giving him a bit of stick, as he was saying, but there was some talk that he used to sort of get in front of the mirror with a hairbrush and just sort of talk to himself to get into a bit of a rhythm. But you know what? It was a sensational singles match out there. Both boys played some tremendous tennis, and I was a little bit frustrated there at times where Jakey he made an error here and there where he could have got back into the match, because if he had held that serve at 3-2 instead of dropping to go down 4-2, anything could have happened in that later in that second set, and certainly into that super tiebreaker in the third.
Yeah, that's right. It's the scoreline, I think, is quite deceiving there for Scott to win 6-love, 6-3. Not much in that second set, and anything can happen in this format as well, where you play a super tie-break for the third set. So you're right, he gets another game there, and suddenly the pressure's back on Webster, and it's anyone's game. But really, really high-level match there at the number 1 singles. But Dalkeith are off to an absolute flyer there. Doing very well to win the first 3 singles rubbers and be up 3-0, and I think we've got a pivotal match here at the number 4 position and a must-win from Kings Park.
As we sneak across and have a look at some of the crowd here at Dalkeith Tennis Club, a family-friendly club, as you're making mention, Tommy George, and if anyone wants to come down and watch some of the best athletes going around in the Men's State League, please do. It's a great part of the world down here, and there's only 2 lanes down into Dalkeith, though, down that Stirling Highway, Tommy George, and it is a little bit frustrating at times because the traffic does build up. But gee whiz, this is one of the first clubs that I played at when I came lucky enough to come down to boarding school at Christchurch, and I've enjoyed my time here at Dalkeith, and it's been wonderful to see the development of Dalkeith. I mean, these hard courts are very recent over the last, I guess, not recent as far as 10 or 12 years, but they used to be a predominantly grass tennis club here at Dalkeith, and they played they're going to play the ITF Seniors Championships here between here and Nedlands next month. A great club. What do you know about a lot of the clubs throughout Perth? You've been here 6 years now. You would have got around to a lot of tennis clubs, and you enjoyed your time sort of being the High Performance Tennis Academy manager? Yeah,
immensely. Absolutely loved it. It's an amazing culture here. The clubs are the best in the world. I just think within a 10-minute drive from here, we have Cottesloe Tennis Club, we have Nedlands, and they're all just absolutely spectacular, and absolutely love visiting the clubs and seeing all the top juniors coming through. And actually, before I was just in the bar just grabbing a Diet Coke, and I had a look at the honour board, and I did see B. Patten up there a few times. You were too modest to tell me that, but I spotted your name at least 4 times there on the honour board. I'm sure there are many more.
5 times, Tommy. But who's counting? The singles, back in the 90s when the days were they were almost wooden rackets and serve and volley was back then, Tommy George. No, I enjoyed my time here. Absolutely wonderful club, and been a powerhouse of tennis in men's and women's state league. Don't have a women's state league here at the moment, but gee whiz, it'd be lovely to get the Dalkeith Tennis Club back into the women's competition. We're just waiting for the doubles to commence here in the round 3 Dalkeith match up against Royal Kings Park. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage today. My name is Brett Patten, of course, sitting alongside Tommy George, who's the Tennis Australia High Performance Academy manager, and talking about all things happening in the world of tennis here in WA. Now, We've spoken about, and we speak about this quite often every week, but some of the great talent on the world stage at the moment for WA and some of the talent that's coming through. And what can you tell us about, the awesome talent we got coming out of WA?
Yeah, some very fortunate, some incredible talent, and a lot of the talent's coming out of Dalkeith Tennis Club. So shout out to John Thorpe and Matt Carle and the coaching team here. They do an amazing job, and President Annette and Vice President Loretta, they've got a really great thing happening here. So top juniors are training here. They've had Zach Fiala, who's a national champion and #1 player in Australia. He did all his training here at Dalkeith. Sarah Nikolic is another up-and-coming superstar. She's ranked 4 in Australia and for her age, and I think big things to come for her. We've got Sehun Park, who's #5 in Australia. He trains here. So a lot of the top juniors coming out of Dalkeith Tennis Club in that great master stroke coaching system. But we're really excited for the Australian Open Juniors. Look at whether, if that happens in Australia, in that under-18 Junior Grand Slam, we're going to have Derek Pham, Zach Fiala, Lily Fairclough, Jessie Cully, Taylor Preston, Talia Gibson. The list goes on. And, James Newton, we have players like that, and Marco Murdoch and Jake Dembo coming through. So, really starting to get that depth, and they're really showing their mark on the national and international stage. So well done to all the coaches and clubs doing a great job with our juniors.
Yeah, no question about that. And if we go around the grounds, having a look at some of the other matches being played in the round 3 of the Men's State League, Alexander Park are coming up against UWA at Alexander Park. Alexander Park currently lead 2 rubbers to love. Jerome O'Connor from Alexander Park defeated Jasper Patterson 6-2, 6-1. Ashwin Sharma, the brother of Astra Sharma, currently rated number about 90 in the world in the Women's Tennis Association. He's up 4-1 against Jury to Blank. Josh Bowen defeated Nawe Judge 6-3, 6-1. And Dan Downey and Tim Gray are yet to commence their match. So right now, Alexander Park leading 2 rubbers to love. In the other match, Mount Lawley up against Hensman Park. Addy Mann lost to Matthew Burton from Hensman Park, 7-6, 6-2. Ethan Cook defeated Ethan Farley 10-4 in a super tiebreaker in that third set. Austin Voss defeated Marco Murdoch, 6-love, 6-1. I mean, Austin Voss is a tremendous talent. You did mention Marco, but Marco looks like he was outgunned on that occasion. And Jake Dembo from Mount Lawley, that young, prodigious talent, best in his age groups for the under-13s, I think it is, defeated Rory Male 6-4, 6-2. So, as you made mention, gee whiz, very blessed with the talent that we got coming out of the WA. A lot of great coaches around. You made mention of the master stroke, John Thorpe. Of course, we've got the Dyer brothers, Ash and Brad Dyer down there at Greenwood. Where other coaches are really starting to stamp their mark? James Connolly at Hensman Park.
Yes. A lot of amazing coaches throughout the state, but in that junior sort of high performance space, the Dyers have been doing a great job at Greenwood, and a lot of talent coming out of there, led by Taylor Preston and Ria Makassar and Samvi Turk and James Newton. So they're really a talent pipeline. Obviously, they do a great job here with John Thorpe and Matt Carlisle. And James Connolly at Hensman, along with Mark Luber and the team there. And Anya Dokic is doing some great coaching. We saw that amazing match that she won Love and Love last week. And also, Reese McDougall's doing a fantastic job at Mount Lawley, the coach of Jake Dembo and many other good juniors. And also Phil Lambrick out at North Beach is doing a tremendous job. A lot of our players in the national development squads have come from him as well. So, and Blue Gum is always just incredibly consistent with producing talent with Dan Sewell and Charlotte Connon and the coaching team there. So, God, it's really blessed with some passionate, incredible coaches. When we travel over east for nationals, so you look around and you see 8, 9, 10 WA coaches, and everyone says, "Oh God, there's so many WA coaches here," but it's just the passion. They just love it, and very fortunate. Yeah.
You made mention of a couple of those players being coached by some of the great WA talent. We look at the Women's State League round number 3. Top of the table, Hensman Park coming up against Peppermint Grove, and probably the standout player, Talia Gibson and Lily Fairclough in the girls' competition this year alongside Taylor Preston. Talia Gibson defeated Lily Fairclough 10-5 in a super tiebreaker in what would have been an absolutely outstanding quality match. Anya Dokic, you made mention of Anya. She defeated Ruby Broadbent from Peppermint Grove 6-1, 6-love. So she's dropped one game game in the last 2 matches. Anya Dockett, quality player she is. Senya Vujacic defeated Gay Leong 6-3, 6-1, and Ella Nurkic defeated Emma Black 6-1, 7-5, giving Hensman Park, top of the table, a 3-1 lead at the moment. Some of the other matches, Greenwood up against Alexander Park. Alexander Park have a 2-love lead at the moment. Talia Preston, or as we made mention, she's a quality player, is currently leading Sheridan Curry, I should say, 6-love, 6-1. Sandva Tak lost to Peyton Tuckett, 6-2, 6-2 from Alexander Park. Ria Makassar and Hannah Appayard are yet to get on, and Jasmine Carswell, I should say, defeated Justine Hayward Janey 6-4, 4-6, 7-6, so 10-8 in that super tiebreaker in the third set. And we'll give you some of the other results as the afternoon goes on. But gee whiz, just blessed with talent across the men's and women's juniors, and they're really starting to make their mark on the open competition, Tommy.
Yeah, that's right. Got tough for Sheridan Curry out there playing against Taylor Preston, because here we have someone who's destined to be a professional tennis player, who is number 1 in Australia for her age group and been signed by Octagon. So when one of the world's biggest management companies signs you up, you got big raps. So we're really looking for those juniors to be our next generation, and try and emulate or even be better than a current crop of pros, where we have Matthew Ebden, Tristan Schoolgate, Astra Sharma, Madison Inglis, Storm Sanders, and recently retired Jessica Moore and Casey Delacroix. So, yeah, very blessed with those great role models.
My name is Brett Patten, sitting alongside Tommy George, High Performance Tennis Academy Manager. We've got some big breaking news to come over the couple of weeks, Tom George. We won't do it on air, but looking forward to you sort of delivering some news maybe in the next couple of weeks to all our listeners. Yes. Very exciting news for the world of tennis all across Australia here, as we're waiting for the players to get onto court. You can see them scurrying across the court. A couple of players from Dalkeith are just having a bit of a hit-up. We see B.Webster, the brother of Scott. He's just walking back towards the camera at the moment. He's carrying a little bit of a niggle, his brother Scotty was saying, but he'll be out here playing the doubles, and he's just having a warm-up with former Dalkeith captain from the Men's State League, Josiah Tyson, serving. Sure to be some fascinating doubles combinations, a lot of the matchups, the excitement around the net in the doubles. Tommy George, we saw the women's exciting doubles last week between Cottesloe and Hensman Park, and you're expecting different tactics for the men's doubles, or very similar to what we saw last week with the girls?
Yeah, there's some really impressive doubles last week in the ladies, but yeah, I think you will see, Scotty Webster, who travelled with John Pearce, Australia's #1 doubles player. He will be very busy up at the net. He's there playing with James Newton, and I think he'll take him under his wing, and we'll see some great formations. We'll see we'll see tandem, and I think we'll see a lot of movement up at the net. And they're looking for the first serve high percentage. Predominantly they'll be serving down the tee, and I think we'll see short, sharp points and some classic doubles coming up here. Must-win doubles, obviously, for Kings Park. They find themselves down 3-0 so far in singles, with the #4 singles match still to be decided.
#1 court, we're seeing closest to the camera, Scotty Webster and young James Newton. We spoke to both these boys only a matter of about half an hour ago. They're pairing up against the old stages in Sam Ashenden and Jakey Robinson. And Sam Ashenden and Jake Robinson have played a lot of tennis together, Tommy George. They understand each other's games incredibly well, and they are very good doubles players. So looking at this combination at the moment, I'd suggest that the favourites would be the Kings Park duo at the furthest from the camera, and they do play together incredibly well. Very tactical, great hands around the net. You'll see a lot of come-ons, you'll see a lot of fist pumping, and Sammy Ashenden is the captain of Kings Park. He does like to get his charges on his team up and about. He does like to encourage them quite often. He's often seen yelling across 3 or 4 courts. But I'm looking to enjoy sort of what young James Newton and Scotty Webster can deliver here, because both power hitters. Be interested to see what James Newton's like on the tennis court, in the doubles court, I should say.
Yeah, well, it's just great experience here to play with Scott Webster, who's a fantastic doubles player. So You know, James is a very good junior doubles player and had a lot of success winning a lot of junior doubles titles, but it'll just be great for them to chat about the different formations and tactics together. And I know Scott does a lot of hitting with James and shown a great interest in him, so I think it'll be enjoyable doubles for Jimmy coming up here.
Just tagging out, letting head of tennis Rob Kennedy come in. He's done a superb job. Sit there, Tom George. Rob Kennedy and Tommy George will take you through best part of this doubles. So I'm going to go off and get myself a nice spritzer, I think, Rob Kennedy.
Thank you very much, Brett. It's great to have you back, Rob. This is a tremendous afternoon. How are you enjoying the afternoon's tennis?
I was loving it that much. I forgot I had a bit of a job to do while I was down. I was just having a fantastic chat over there with Scott's dad, and I was getting pretty comfortable. I was about to order myself a drink, but no, we've got some doubles to watch now, and yeah, it's been a beautiful day and some great tennis to watch.
Yeah, it really has been. And speaking of doubles, and you know, college player yourself, how important is it to practice your doubles? And obviously we see that a lot of these state league matches come down to the pivotal doubles points. Something I really enjoyed in college tennis in America is that each tie started with doubles and just showed how important it was to get that doubles point.
Yeah, you took my answer right there, which is I used to love at college when we started with doubles, and I think it got everybody very revved up as well. The communication across, well, for college, which was across 3 courts, but that yelling, that trying to fight for that 1 point, that could always be that little bit of a difference. You also felt like you got a little bit of an edge. So playing doubles first, I loved it. I think it was really important. I think for us as tennis players, I was talking about it with Brett before, it's a very lonely place out on court, but to get on a doubles court, play with your mates, and have a bit of that team-like atmosphere is always really enjoyable. So I used to love it. I used to thrive on a bit of doubles, and looking forward to seeing some doubles out here. And I love seeing Aussies have always been quite successful on a doubles court as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Australia has a very rich history on the doubles, as we see a ball fly through the fence there. And you had a lot of success in doubles, and obviously you had a great experience with the Australian Open wildcard playoff mixed doubles with you and Kaylee Nicholas. Can you please tell us about that experience? Yeah,
for those that missed it before, it was a great experience, and I think an initiative that needs to come back. We talked about it a little bit earlier, and winning the WA effort here, which got us over there to play in the wild card against the winners in the other states. I think there were some multiples in the bigger states. To get over there and play at Melbourne Park, and my family was there, which for me actually is, I definitely hung up the rackets or trying to make any sort of name of myself in the sport. But to go and play at the Australian Open with a player pass and feeling a part of it was quite an emotional day for me. And we nearly got there. We got all the way to the semis, and Kaylee must have some seriously sore shoulders because she carried me the whole day. But mate, to get over there and experience that was a memory that I'll never forget. And I think they should bring it back for sure. And I'd love to see some of our young players get in and get amongst it.
Yeah, I think absolutely wonderful initiative, completely agree with. And someone was telling me the other day that Kaylee was a South African junior champion herself, so obviously she still hits a very good ball. Yeah,
she came over to Perth when she was about 14. I think she was definitely top 2 in the country for South Africa. Made the silly decision to come to North Beach and have a hit with me and decided to choose me as her coach, and obviously I think her career went a little bit downhill from there, but she was one of those players who the things that you normally have to teach people, that touch and those elements of things that you think you struggle to teach, she just had. She had that natural touch, great, could mix her speed and pace up a lot with the ball. She openly admits herself she's probably too nice of a person to go that distance, but lovely human being, and if she's listening out there, loved every minute of it, Carles, and thanks for bringing me along your journey, for sure.
Fantastic. Okay, first point of the doubles here. Here we go. We've got the number 1 doubles here with Kings Park serving and Dalkeith returning. Good first point, good return from Jimmy there, and interesting to see Dalkeith with both players on the baseline returning first serve, which is quite common now in professional doubles, and then moving in for the second serve. Oh, you got to love that, Rob.
It's an incredible return, and I think Scotty came off his singles. If I heard him correctly, he talked a little bit about his backhand, a bit unsure about it in that singles match, but he's got to be feeling a lot more comfortable after that return.
Yeah, he's really got a pep in his step after that wonderful singles win, so love 30. Oh, and just missed wide there, but another great return at the shoelaces from James, who's known for his great returns. A few of his junior mates nickname him Novak because he's got such a great return of serve, but just missed that passing shot wide.
What's your take? It definitely wasn't around the two at the back in my day playing doubles. As our high performance coach, what's your take on this sort of tactic, and what are the advantages of it?
Yeah, with the two players back?
Correct.
Yeah, so I'm actually a big fan on the first serve of doing, just unfortunate from Scotty there, back to 30 all. If you're playing against a doubles team and the server has a big booming serve and you're not making any inroads on the return of serves games, I am a fan of having two back just to give yourselves a bit more time and get stuck into the rally and then put the pressure moving in for the second serve, as we see Scott move up here. So depending on the opponents, I do like it, and I do like it on clay courts as well, when you've got a bit more time to set up and rip a passing shot. Another great return from Jimmy. So Kings Park in trouble early, break point Dalkeith.
So we talked about the why for the returning team is obviously that big first serve, so maybe just give yourself a bit more time and space. What should the servers be looking to do if they do get that first serve in with having two at the baseline? What do you think they'll be looking to do?
Yeah, great question, Rob. So the serving team, they should really be looking to sort of cut off short angled volleys with two players back and utilise the good pressure there from Webster coming in the early break and the fist pump from Dalkeith. But yeah, I'd like to get busy up at the net and just drop in a little drop shot volley or just angle it off. Or just go deep down the middle through the two players. Yeah.
So an early break for Dalkeith now, and they'll go down the other end with. You can feel that wind picking up in doubles. How can you use that to your advantage? The wind. What are you looking to do with it?
Yeah, it's tricky on which way the wind's going. But if you're going into that strong breeze, like to do a few more lower slider serves and some flat serves and keep the ball down, and when the wind behind your back, like to see some big heavy kickers using that breeze and then close the net, and the thing with adding in that big kick serve with the breeze behind you gives you a bit more time to close the net and makes that first volley a little bit easier. We saw Jimmy put in a lot of returns at the shoelaces. You can't do that if you're right on top of the net. James Newton the serve.
So Kings Park choosing.
And
Still
great,
got it, mate. Still
great
got it.
catch. Too bad we didn't have the camera on us. Here's Rob Kennedy caught that ball as it came through, straight over the top of the cameras. That
I like seeing the youngster in James Newton getting the serve first over Scotty Webster here. It's an interesting tactic. Normally the big serve Scotty Webster might take it, but I'm sure they've got some reasons here as that ball goes in the net off the return.
Yeah, and it could be that end has a breeze behind them, so they might be thinking get Webster's serve into the breeze and James to have the breeze behind him. Yeah, that ball just missed the camera. Big shout out to Scotty's media and Tomio for the great setup here today. Came in a couple hours early and set up actually world-class setup here for the commentary. Thank you to the boys.
So question to yourself, we know about our great juniors who are coming up and our young players, but we also know that singles maybe doesn't translate into doubles now that we're watching doubles. Are there any that sort of aren't the big name in singles that are sort of starting to make a little bit of a name for themselves in doubles at all?
Yeah, there is a point in a lot of careers where players start to focus in on the doubles, or they make a decision to focus in on the doubles. John Pearce, years ago, he's always a good singles player as well, decided to just focus in and be a double specialist. Same with Jess Moore, and you know, at the sort of end of Casey Delacroix's career, she would really prioritise in doubles a lot, and you see they've all made a lot of money out of it and done very well, so it's becoming more common for people to specialise. But you'll see a lot of the top players play singles their whole career, and then just when they're getting a bit older and losing that physicality and movement, they might just end their career with a couple years of doubles. But it is really interesting. when people make that decision to just focus in on the doubles, because everything changes and they're switching doubles partners, they're switching their training regimes, but we like to really prioritise doubles at an early age because we think it's so good for your volleys, so good for you having a target for your returns and serving locations. So, and as you mentioned, being a team sport, it's just good banter and good fun to be out there with a good mate. Fortunate double fault from James there, just rushed that a little bit.
I think it's brought it to juice now, which just puts a little bit of pressure on what was looking like quite an easy hold. With quite a few missed returns, there's now a little bit of pressure. That wind is definitely looks like it's going across the court and might be playing a little bit of havoc with that ball toss. But juice serve here, so we'll cut to the tennis and see what he does here. It's a big point. Went to squeeze him tight, cut off the angles.
What a point. Absolutely brilliant tennis there. And a pivotal point because that was a short deuce. And James came up with some great ground strokes, and then Webby cleaned it off with a great volley and great smash. So here we go, 2-love Dolphins.
Speaking of some different tactics, a non-serve and volley on the second serve there was an interesting one, but sometimes it's good to mix it up on what you're doing, giving them a different look.
Yeah, that's right. And James gets first serve just wide there. James gets a bit older. He probably will add in that second serve volley there. So, and just double fault there. As you mentioned, very strong wind now, and that ball toss just moving around a lot. But yeah, whoever controls the net in doubles, usually that's a dominant position. So I think we'll see the next year or two, James will serve volley on his second as well. Love 15. Oh, well, very good from Webster. Another clutch return, and then a great passing shot. So love 30. Another little opportunity here for the Dolphins. Kings Park doesn't want to get down 2 breaks of serves here. Great serve from Jake Robertson, right into the body of James Newton. Jammed him up there for the free point. 15-30. That's just too good. You see Kings Park went for the cross there, and you love playing your formations, don't you, Rob? What's your favourite formation there? You love eye or you love tandem, or what do you like today?
I'd stayed pretty classic, but I did love the squeeze down the tee, really close off their angles. Didn't have to do the full commit cross, but really squeeze them in the middle, force them to try and pull it down the line. Definitely always liked. I always thought best percentage was the way to go. You might mix it up with maybe some riskier plays here or there as it went on, but I always thought if you were just the most consistent team on a doubles court and you just played the high percentages, more times than not it came off.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Doubles is all about the high percentages and getting those first serves percentages up. The Kings Park just having a quick chat on their tactics here with 30-40. And big opportunity for the Dolphins with the second serve. Oh, and good play. So we back to juice, and let's see who takes the short juice here.
That was one of those ones that I was talking about. You could see that he squeezed Scotty into his body. I don't think it was a full commit, but once Sam saw that tightness on the serve, then he just pushed straight across, and it was a fantastic play. Big point here.
And double fault there. So Dalkeith Dolphins off to a flyer, 3 games to love up with Scott Webster to serve.
So I was talking to Brett earlier about how the super tie breaks come in the third set and all about quickening up the game. But what's your take on the short juice? Because as we see just there, we've had 2 short juice points. Could be a very different story. Right now we're sitting at love 3. Could easily be 2-1 or something the other way. What's your take on the short juice?
Yeah, so initially I wasn't a fan because I do love the tradition in tennis, and I do love when we keep formats and the continuity, but I have changed over time, and I am a fan. I do think it is very exciting. It gets things moving, and gets matches done quickly. And I think the players love it. And those pressure points is good for the juniors as well to for their development. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. As I said, I think you've answered that extremely well. We were talking about it earlier. Anything that just brings a little bit more suspense, a little bit more something to look at, speed up the game a little bit isn't the worst thing. I know we had 4 courts today, but sometimes with 2 courts it can be a very long afternoon. Just wide on that return. It's a great serve. He's used that wide serve well today. I think he used it extremely well in his singles, and he's done it again here now. So I'll ask the question, as a server yourself, short juice, what's your tactic or go-to? Do you sort of pick on a returner, or do you pick your side, which is your stronger side? I mean, as a lefty, I'm going out to the ad side just quietly, but what's your go-to?
Very, very interesting debate, this one. Recently, some top-quality coaches debated it, and Scott Draper talked about this point, and he said on those points he liked to go with his favourite serve, regardless of who he was playing, similar to what you just said. And then the other coach, Brent Larkin, who's another top quality coach, said he likes to go to their weakness. So it then started a 2-hour conversation of what was the right thing. I don't know whether there's any right or wrong, and maybe it's personal preference, but it is a debate to be continued. Personally, I do like to go with my favourite serve, and I feel more comfortable. I feel like I've got a higher chance of winning if I stick with my strengths. But yeah,
it's a good answer. So it's 30-15 out on the court now, as we see. They did the old switch across, but then Scotty just putting a forehand volley there into net, with it very unlike him. But 30-15 here on Scott Webster's serve. See, 40-15 to go up for love here. We do love a good debate between some iconic coaches. I think there's no better debate when there's actually no outcome really to it either. You can't really say one's going to be right or one's going to be wrong, but no. I do love a question that opens up some good conversation, and those are 2 fantastic coaches to listen to for sure.
Yeah, they are, and they both had great examples too. I think Scott Draper said that Pete Sampras just backed himself for his, what his best serve was, regardless of who was down the other end. So, yeah, interesting one. But that's 4 love to Dalkeith. We might pop on over to the number 2 doubles match. And here we have Dalkeith down 1 game to love against Kings Park. So here we have Scott Webster's brother B.Webster, who's also a fantastic player. He did not play singles, but he's in for the doubles lineup. And as Scott mentioned, he's just carrying a little bit of an injury from last week, so that's the reason he rested from singles.
I was just having a chat with the father of both Scott and Ben, and I'm not sure if you can quite tell on these cameras here, but there's a bit of chat about whether they could mould the 2 together. I'm sure Scotty would have loved a bit of Ben's height, as we know height can be a real strength out on the Pro Tour. But yeah, Ben definitely those couple of inches taller than Scott, and I'm sure he shows it here on his serve for sure. Right on cue, goes for a nice big flat strong serve. Thank you, Ben, appreciate it.
That's just a great return, right on the shoelaces. Nothing wrong with the serve there. Even Josiah Tyson there up at the net is having a good laugh with Benny over that one.
You could see the bounce that he got, and speaking about that height and that advantage, I mean, you've got a mixture of players, especially when they're young, waiting to see what their growth spurt's going to do. So how do you work on a player without knowing maybe they're going to be shorter or their physicalities? What's the differences that you look to, or is it still the same until they get older?
Yeah, good question, Rob. It's a big part of the talent ID, and what genetic makeup the player has, because I think it's very important in their development to identify what game style they're going to play. If, usually the shorter players, their game might be moulded around being a counter puncher and being consistent, and then the big strong players like B.Webster, you might more weapon development and big booming serves and forehand dominance. So I think that is pivotal, that you know their body shape and genetics and build a game style around it.
You might have seen there, I know we're on court 2, but they were watching the first court. It was the first true sign of how strong that wind is. I think Scott hit the ball very high in the air, and I think it started about the middle of court 2 and actually nearly drifted all the way across and nearly went in. So that breeze across the court is very evident now.
Just wide. Big serve there. He would have been an ace.
So again, that not quite taking the serve to advantage there, getting the volley that they wanted. I'm sure 9 times out of 10 that volley's going in for a winner. Talking about formations, we saw a bit of an I formation there. What are the servers looking to try and do with that formation?
Yeah, so that's really to throw off your opponents there and just put some doubt in the returners' minds of where the player at the net's going to move to, and then you can serve anywhere, but traditionally they will serve T and then try and get that net player involved to pop up and put away the easy volley. Big fan of the I formation.
Rob Kennedy here sitting with Tom George, high performance and WA State coach, down at Dalkeith, watching Dalkeith versus Royal Kings Park in our men's state grade competition.
Just going to move it back over to the #1 doubles, where Dalkeith are 5 games to love up, and James Newton is serving for the first set. Boys, we're just watching the #2 doubles over there. The crowd's loving the action here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon at Dalkeith. Oh, classic doubles there. Good serve from Jimmy and great volley there.
Just long there from James Newton. I like seeing Jake Robinson there stepping in and trying to take that return early. You see him coming in now. Oh, fantastic move at the net there by Sam. He's taken off that ball and put it back to right onto James's, right onto his sneakers there, which is a tough pick up, especially when you know someone's at the net, so forcing the error there.
Just go to a quick score check. So overall, we have Dalkeith currently 3 rubbers to 1 up. So recap in the singles, with S.Webster defeated Jake Robertson at the #1 position, 6-love, 6-3. James Newton from Dalkeith beat Jarron Stafford 7-5, 6-2. Also from Dalkeith, Oliver Henderson defeated Sam Ashenden 6-4, 7-5. At the #4 men's singles position, Kings Park had a win there, where Ben Dallinger was victorious 6-1, 7-5. So Kings Park still have a shot here if they win both doubles, but Dalkeith in a commanding position.
It's been a fantastic atmosphere down here. It's had a bit of a whacker feel to it, with people sitting on the grass hills. We had people here on the grass bank on the eastern side. It's been fantastic, and I think a few beverages are getting served now, and everyone really enjoying the tennis.
Fantastic, fantastic tennis.
So I'm going to step away and welcome back CEO Brett Patten.
Robbie Kennedy, thank you, head of tennis. It's insights from Robbie Kennedy, giving you some great perspective on the game of tennis. Great doubles out here, Tommy George. You're enjoying what you're seeing here on court number 1?
Yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant start from Dalkeith, from S.Webster and James Newton, off to an absolute flyer here, playing some classic doubles. So Dalkeith continuing their good form here at home on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
Jake Robinson serving closest to the camera. Going into this particular tie, Tom, I would have thought that Jake and Sam from Kings Park would have been the favourites, but find themselves behind on the scoreboard.
Yeah, early on in the set, Scott and James won a couple short deuces that I think proved pivotal, and they've continued that good momentum. And Webster's been very impressive out here. MVP so far in this doubles match.
Both doubles being played at the moment. Currently Dalkeith leading 3 rubbers to 1. Beautiful hands there by Jakey Robinson. Just perfect movement around the court as we boys change ends. Currently still behind on the scoreboard. Dalkeith currently leading 4 games to 1 in this opening set of the number 1 doubles, and currently leading 3 rubbers to 1, just needing a win in either one of these doubles for Dalkeith, and they'll certainly win the day. Get their first win on the board. Tommy George, after losing their opening 2 rubbers.
Yes, they're desperate for the win today after the close matches the last couple of weeks and that heartbreaking grand final loss last year. So very keen to get back on the winners list and move forward.
Production brought to you by Scotty Walsh and Tomio Yamazaki. I want to thank them. Production isn't possible without their great work. We're just simply the talent over here, Tom George, that we just like to sit here and give a play-by-play and some updates around what's happening. As we skip across court number 3, we're watching Josiah Tyson from Dalkeith serving alongside B.Webster. Beautiful down the line, Ben Dallinger. Such is the talent of Ben Dallinger. He's been lost to the game of tennis for a few years, but he finds himself back playing for Kings Park. Absolute unloaded that backhand down the line.
What a talent he is. You saw the class there with his backhand. Very impressive in his singles victory. 6-1, 7-5 earlier to keep Kings Park in the hunt.
Pairing up with Jarron Stafford, who heartbreaking loss to James Newton in the number 2 singles earlier today. Great doubles, really entertaining, and the crowd here are enjoying what they're seeing. But I mean, that is the art of doubles, isn't it? The short, sharp, the hands around the net, really enjoyable stuff out here, Tommy.
Yeah, that's the crowd absolutely loved that. It's world-class tennis out there. Brilliant. That's why we love watching the doubles.
Josiah Tyson serving closest to the camera, serving wide. Big sliding serve for the ace, just making up for that point before. It was about 13 points, 13 rallies long, and then all of a sudden a nice short, sharp ace out to the forehand. Josiah Tyson and B.Webster just talking about where they're going to go. They're doing some hand signals. Looks like he's going to serve this flat and wide out to the backhand. See if he goes there. And he has. Oh, if you don't mind the scurry work from Ben Dallinger. We saw the hand signals here at the net here, so we knew exactly where Josiah was looking to serve. He and Ben operating by hand signals, and again, the hand signal is going to body, so he wants to go body straight at Ben Dallinger. See if that takes place.
Yeah.
He's going body. And he's going to go wide here. Swing it wide, and he has. We can see it here on the TV screen. I'm sure everyone else can see it at home too. The hand signals from the net player.
Great insight there, Brett. That if I was down the other end there, Kings Park, you'd be wanting one of your mates to give you the little signals just to have an early look.
Well, I should be tuning in live coverage here at the West Australia, the Men's and Women's State League, each Saturday afternoon, right across this summer of tennis. Tell you what, he doesn't leave too much in the kit bag, Jarron Stafford. When he leans on that ball, it stays hit. Nice break of serve there for the Kings Park GI. Ben Dallinger and Jarron Stafford defeating, well, not defeating, but breaking the serve of Josiah Tyson from Dalkeith.
Exactly right, Brett. He doesn't hold back, opens up the shoulders and just gives it a big rip.
The first set has been won by the Dalkeith duo of Webster and Newton on that first court against Sam Ashenden and Jake Robinson, as we stay transfixed on this second court. Oh, beautifully wrapped around Josiah Tyson, the running forehand, just dragging the ball from outside to inside the tram lines. Exciting doubles out here late in the afternoon here at Dalkeith Tennis Club. Nice crowd. Hope you've enjoyed today's broadcast through the West Australian live streaming. My name is Brett Patten, sitting alongside Tom George. Rob Kennedy has been a big part of the broadcast today. Head of tennis. Tommy George is Academy Manager for Tennis Australia. Jarron Stafford serving, furthest from the camera, Kings Park. The ball landed in, caught the frame. High five work from Jarron Stafford and Ben Dallinger, catching the frame and dropping in. Of course, all parts of the racket are legal. As we kick across and look at some of the other results from around the grounds today. In the Men's State League, we're seeing Alexander Park currently leading UWA 3 rubbers to love. Jerome O'Coney defeated Jasper Patterson 6-2, 6-1. Ashwin Sharma defeated Yuri Tablank 6-2, 6-love. And Josh Bowen defeated Narajan Juge 6-3, 6-1. The match that hasn't been completed is Dan Downey and Tim Gray. Oh, nice. Great hands from around the net. The other match out here being played today is Mount Lawley up against Hensman Park, and Matthew Burton from Hensman Park defeated Addy Mann 6-2, 7-6. Ethan Cook defeated Ethan Farley 10-4 in a super tiebreaker in that third set. Austin Voss way too good for Marco Murdoch 6-love at 6-1, and Jake Dembo from Mount Lawley getting their first win on the board today, defeating Rory Male 6-4, 6-2. Big Tommy George, some entertaining tennis from around the grounds.
Yeah, brilliant. Some interesting results there from around the grounds. Hensman Park, very dominant the last couple of seasons and having another good week. Just the depth of their team.
Overplaying the smash, and B.Webster and Josiah Tyson just in jubilation and raptures at the back of the court there, just counter-punching, getting that one extra shot back and making their opponents overplay.
Yeah, one of the points of the day there. Saw some good offense versus defense there. Crowd was loving it.
Both the boys staying back. What would be the benefit of staying back on the return of serve, Tommy?
Yeah, it's a play that's becoming more and more common, but very common returning first serve. So just to give both players a bit more time there. So if the serve is a holding serve easily or have a big booming serve, you just give your partner a bit more time there on the baseline. Then if they miss their first serve, second serve, you can put some pressure on and move on in.
Jarron Stafford serving, furthest from the camera for Kings Park, currently up a break of serve in this opening set. Beautiful touch, great lob, just drifting away and just punching the air, break back. Tyson and B.Webster back on serve against Ben Dallinger and Jarron Stafford as they change ends.
They needed that, so yeah, straight back into it. They couldn't afford to go down 4-1 there, so well done to the boys. Get it back to 3-2.
So we switch across back to the top court, furthest from the camera, James Newton. S.Webster for Dalkeith, currently leading by a set against Jake Robinson and Sam Ashenden, but no doubles, not over and out of it until that very last point, Tommy George. And currently Jake and Sam leading 1 game to love in the opening stage of this second set. Good serve down the tee. James Newton just overplaying that backhand a little wide. What was your favourite? Prefer singles or doubles, Tommy George?
Oh, it's an unbelievable return there. Crowd's getting up and about, getting around the boys there, loving it, having a few drinks from the bar. Yeah, I do like both. I think they're just so different. They have great advantages. So really enjoy viewing both, but personally enjoy probably playing singles a bit more. I like that it's all on my shoulders. That if I lose, it's my fault. If I win, it's because I did a good job. So just that element of control there, but both very enjoyable. Rob and I were talking about doubles. It's great to, be with the team and have a supportive teammate, as tennis is notoriously individual sport and can be very lonely at times. So the more team tennis, the better.
James Newton serving. Nice return. Good hands, Sam Ashenden. Oh yes, James Newton. Jakey just ducking away from that ball. You want to get tubed. There's a little bit of that element in doubles. If the ball's there to hit and you can hit your opponent, you think that they would do that?
Yes, well, they say it's a gentleman's game, but if they have the opportunity to win the point by going straight at their opponent, they'll do it. If we have a nice close-in view of James Newton with that beautiful service action he has, great technique.
Nice sliding serve out to the forehand. Second serve too, just took a little bit of pace off that, but just cut that out wide and Jakey just couldn't get up to the ball. Holds his serve, Jake. I should say James Newton at 1-all, second set. Won the first set 6-2. James Newton and S.Webster for Dalkeith. Got a big serves by both Dalkeith and Kings Park. Tommy George exiting the booth as we welcome back head of tennis for Tennis West, Robbie Kennedy. Great, unfortunately, just not sure hands from Jake Robinson. Welcome back, Robbie Kennedy. Enjoying what you're seeing out here?
I am. It's fantastic tennis to watch, and I'm enjoying the crowd as well. You can probably hear them through the microphones, and a little bit of a waffle-like atmosphere. I think we're getting a bit of cheering, which is great. I mentioned before, I love the sitting on the grass hill, and everyone's having a bit of a beverage and a chat, and they're being entertained by some fantastic tennis out on the court as well.
Oh, just the ageing legs couldn't get back to that overhead smash. Robbie Kennedy, Sam Ashenden, journeyman of the WA tennis scene.
I must say he's one of my favourites. I've always enjoyed playing against him. He's always had the better of me in some tight matches, but I think he's most people's favourite, isn't he? A bit of a funny man.
No, he's a character. There's no doubt about that. Very colourful.
You yourself was quite a colourful player from memory back in your state grade days, mate, at Claremont. Just a young 17-year-old playing with a veteran superstar in Brett Patten. I learnt a lot from you, and yeah, colourful's one of the words for sure. Probably
all bad. You would have picked up all my bad habits, mate. But they were enjoyable days playing down at Claremont. Of course, played for a number of clubs: Claremont, Dalkeith, UWA, Scarborough, Cottesloe. Enjoyed my time at all those clubs for varying reasons. Beautiful low volley. Great recovery from, it was. You can hear the crowd really just getting behind that. Great athleticism from Jake Robinson. Just, we've seen that all afternoon, Robbie. He's just not afraid to move forward. Just been a little bit probably short of a run today. Probably hasn't had the best preparation leading up to this match.
Yeah, it's been talked about a lot, the strength at the net, and he's just showing it there. As you talked about, maybe not having the best pre-season coming into today, but you can see on the doubles call, when you only got half the court to sort of cover, he shows he's got the touch, he's got the skill, and we know his ability as well, and he's just putting it on show. Second serve there, but tight call, but the right one.
Oh, big forehand return from Scotty Webster. Just overplaying that. You'll see Sam Ashenden and Jake just giving a bit of a high five, and that's a big part of doubles. Robbie, you're playing college. There's a lot of that in the US. They don't mind getting around their partners and just high-fiving and backslapping and a lot of cheering and coming on.
Yeah, we were saying before, I think it was one of the louder moments was during the doubles, and that crucial point that you wanted to get, and the fact that you played the doubles first, it was a fun atmosphere in the doubles time. You'd be looking across the 3 courts, you'd be seeing what everybody's doing, you'd be cheering from 2 courts across to make sure that everyone's up and about, and I think everybody knows how vital that point was, and it's no different here in our state grade competition, that sometimes it just absolutely comes down to that last match, and everyone gets around it.
Benny Dallinger serving. Nice hands at the net by B.Webster from Dalkeith, just popping up down the line. It's an easy overhead volley.
We're seeing 2 very different doubles matches as we cut across from court 1 to court 2. The bigger servers out here, especially with the height, we talked about B.Webster's height and the bounce that he's getting. Just 2 very different matches. It's nice to see and see the different tactics.
Querying whether that serve was in or out. I think they've accepted that it was in. B.Webster, you can see him down on the haunches. He's not 100% fit after having a fall last week against Alexander Park at Alexander Park. We switched back across to the top court. B.Webster serving wide. Oh, lovely play, James Newton.
Been very impressed by the young James Newton out here. He's showing his experience beyond his years. Jake there using the chip and charge, putting a bit of pressure on him to make some big smashes, but the chip, the charge, took advantage of the net, but James has really stepped up, even with those ones right there on his sneakers.
Words from Robbie Kennedy, head of Tennis West, part of the commentary today, alongside Tom George. Hope you've enjoyed what we've been bringing you today out here at Dalkeith Tennis Club, round 3 of the Men's State League competition. Beautiful volleys, B.Webster just set that one up nicely. Nice kick serve high to the backhand, closed in a la Pat Rafter. Your game was built around big left-handed swinging serve and just leaning in on the forehand. You weren't moving forward that much, Robbie?
Oh no, yeah. I mean, that serve +1, I think you had to take advantage of his serve as a left-hander. Going over to the States and having a bit of Pat Rafter in the back of your mind. I loved watching Pat grow up and tried to serve and volley as much as I could. I enjoyed doubles heavily, and I think going over the States, not many people did it, but tricky game on the singles quarters. We've seen the game change, but yeah, very much that serve +1 and a big focus in tennis today.
Oh, lovely touch. Jakey Robinson, his partner Sam Ashenden, he's got the real strut on too. I tell you what, he does get the strut up, Sam Ashenden, doesn't he? When the team's up and about, when he gets a nice play, he doesn't mind rolling those hips and rolling the shoulders.
A little bit of the head wobble. Yeah, exactly. No, but that's what you like to see, and he knows as well. He's jovial in many instances, and he makes the game fun. As I said, I love playing against him, and he's the type of characters we need in the sport. Just wide there on his volley. Squeezed him there. They know they've been strong at the net. James felt like he maybe had to do something. Just pushed it a little bit wide.
Words of wisdom there from Scotty Webster. James Newton just talking about where they're going to serve. Of course, it's very much a team game in doubles. You want to let your partner know exactly what you're doing in any moment, so there's no confusion about where to move. Just sensational touch, and you can hear the crowd get behind that. Benny liked that too. Long extended fist pump there.
Yeah, you have to acknowledge the touch and the class there. it's an interesting dynamic when you have, if I'm correct in saying, a 25-year-old out there as the mature body to his partner, but he's shown his experience, and that was an amazing volley, fantastic touch.
Ooh, just overplaying. Jakey Robinson, nice cross there from James Newton, just really put their opponents off. That's the value of doubles, Robbie, because a lot of body movement, a lot of head fakes, a lot of change of direction. It gives your opponents a different look, and they start to think a little bit differently and start overplaying on occasions.
As we know, the importance of watching the ball into the racket, but that little movement, that little change, and just if it makes you just second guess yourself or not watch the ball as closely, those kind of things can happen.
Play two, as we see, good etiquette there. The ball rolls across the court. Always play two.
I'm hoping everyone out there can hear the enjoyment here in the crowd. They're being absolutely entertained by the tennis that's out on the court. It's starting to get quite enjoyable for them and backing their teams. I think we've got some supporters from both clubs, which is great to see. It's always nice when an away team come and watch and support.
Swinging serve. Good hustle. I think that was just inside the sideline. Yeah, I think there's no doubt about that. Nice overhead smash. Good hustle from the back of the court from the Dalkeith duo, but Jake Robinson up to task. Oh, that's overplaying it up. Just the easy swinging serve, nice little kick, change of formation, and just overplaying that backhand volley. As you can see, you're right. I mean, the crowd are getting behind it. There might be the bar is open, so I think they're enjoying themselves. A few refreshments.
A little spritzer.
Lovely. Oh, pull the trigger and just try to whip it around a la rough out of the just couldn't get the curve.
You can
James
tell,
Newton.
for those watching at home, that the wind is going across the court. It's going to the left of your screen, so you're starting to see those serves getting pushed out there. I think James thought he could sit it outside the court a little bit and hope it would come back. In that instance, he probably just had a little bit too much on it. It didn't quite grab the breeze.
Off the top of the racket. You pay for it all, you might as well use it all, Rob Kennedy.
Stole the words straight out of my mouth,
Sam
mate. Exactly
Ashenden.
right.
Just catching the top edge of the frame. He didn't get a lot of elevation. The vertical leap sort of left him late in the afternoon, but he still made the winner out of it.
I'm always big on the one more ball. Make him earn it.
Oh, just going the wrong way, just leaning the wrong way. Jakey Robinson. His brother Corey was here, one of the extended Robinson families, playing for Subiaco this year. And the waffle. Powerhouse in footy, Subiaco Football Club. As I say, a change of ends as we skip across to court number 2. B.Webster, closest, so I should say Josiah Tyson, closer to the camp from Dalkeith serving. Pushing that first serve wide. Again, a double fault. Josiah, last year's State League captain, has been the captain for Dalkeith for many years, Josiah Tyson, and handed over the reins to Ollie Henderson. Thank you for correcting me. I used to work with an Ollie Lawson. Got me caught there, Robbie Kennedy.
Josiah, anyone in WA tennis knows Josiah Tyson. He's had a great career and continually still showing some good tennis out there. He's been looking at his racket a few times in this doubles match today, so I don't know how much he's been hitting maybe coming into today, but both him and B.Webster just sort of maybe shaking off some cobwebs a little bit. But no, he's been a fantastic player and continually hitting a good ball.
Jarron Stafford serving. Kicker out wide. Nice return from B.Webster. Oh, yes. Favours the brave. Just top of the let court going past Jarron. Just couldn't get the body in the right position. Try to throw the racket at it. B.Webster liked that one. He's just high-fived Josiah Tyson. Of course, doubles. So short juice. Lovely touch. B.Webster. Yeah, short juices in the doubles, Robbie. If it gets to a juice, the receiver has the opportunity to say where they want the server to serve to. And of course, it's the server tiebreaker in that third set as well, first to 10 points. What do you think of the short juices?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it earlier. It's sort of similar, isn't it, a bit to that super tiebreak for a third set in the singles. Something a little bit different, get the game moving. I said it's a different situation out here with 4 courts today, but it can be a long day with 2 courts. So just that something to move it along a bit, makes it a little bit interesting, quite tactical at the same time, which is always quite, enjoyable, and put a bit back on the players.
Oh, good court coverage, Jarron. Stafford wasn't going to get caught flat-footed on that occasion. Moved around, good athleticism.
So I asked TG the question, you're serving, short juice, are you going to their weakness or your strength?
I always go to my strength.
Which was?
Oh, heavy down the middle.
I love it.
Just a tee. Tee on the juice court and flat and wide on the ad court.
What do you think of the Nick Kyrgios asking the crowd for where he should
love
go?
It. He's
love
entertaining.
it?
He's colourful, isn't he? And those type of characters desperately needed in the world of tennis. I think they excite and delight the crowd. They excite and delight that next generation of kids coming through that want to emulate and be like the players that they see.
I reckon he's the second person I'm looking for draws-wise. I want to see what Ash Barney's got draw-wise, and then I'm looking to see who Nick is playing that first, especially as an unseeded player, of course, now. He could be playing anyone, which is always going to be an exciting first match, isn't it, for the Aussie Open?
Yeah, it will be. It'll be interesting to see where his ranking sits coming into this Australian Summer of Tennis, because there's undoubtedly, you've got to be inside the top 106 within 6 weeks of a Grand Slam to get direct entry, but he hasn't played a lot of tennis over the last 2 years, and his form hasn't been overly great because he's just not playing that volume of matches. So I think what we'll see hopefully we'll get a good pre-season out of Nick, but he'll be one of those players we'll look back at the end of his career and suggest that, one, he didn't get the most out of himself, but 2, he was such an incredible character, and he gets a bum rap because sometimes of his on-court behaviour. So we're watching Jakey Robinson serve. Good hands there by Sam Ashenden. Good smash. Oh, lovely recovery from S.Webster.
Great doubles. Great
Beautiful
doubles.
hands. I just think he's one of those players that will look back in years and grow to love, what he's been able to do for tennis, put it on the map, entertain a different probably kid that probably didn't want to look at tennis before. He brings a real NBA personality to the game of tennis. Is he ever going to win a Grand Slam? No. But he was great at the ATP 500 level and 250 level. And great touch. And we need those colourful characters. They drag people to the game.
Yeah, I think you could talk about Nick, couldn't you, all afternoon, but the last thing I'll probably finish on is he sort of accepted who he is in the past sort of year, maybe year and a half. I think as the Australian public's getting behind him a bit more, he chooses that court that he loves to play on at the Aussie Open, and I think we'll enjoy watching him for the next couple of years and just accepting him for who he is and get behind him.
Hopefully he's got a few more years sticking around as we kick across to court number 2, seeing B.Webster, brother of S.Webster, about to serve, playing alongside Josiah Tyson. Boys just having a quick chat about where they are looking to serve this opening ball.
Were you a singles, choose a signal to each other, or were you let's talk about where we're going to go? Or did you like the hand gestures?
No, never hand gestures,
no?
Never big on the hand gestures. Always like to say, flat, wide, you move, I'll go.
Yep.
That's how I used to operate. Mind you, there's a lot of hand signals nowadays. And so I like to know exactly what I'm doing before I step up, rather than waiting for your partner to give you a hand signal. Nice serve.
I'm going to say other than your brother, because I'm thinking that might be the standout, but who were some of your more enjoyable doubles partners throughout your career?
Enjoyed playing with my brother, as you may have met. David Cully enjoyed playing with. Enjoyed playing with Marty Richards. I won a couple of Australian seniors titles with him. We got runner-up in the World Championships in Spain a few years ago, so I enjoyed playing with Marty. Used to enjoy playing with Peter Gerrans back in my junior days. Peter and I had a very successful doubles career together. Big serve down the tee. B.Webster, lovely pick up from the toes Gee whiz, that's good athleticism from B.Webster. Just
Beautiful.
overplayed high volley from Ben Dallinger. Yeah, some of the greats from WA from years gone by, they were terrific. But I missed out playing with the great Rob Casey and Barry Tognolini, some of the greats from yesteryear, back in the 70s and 80s. That would have been wonderful to play with. And Chris Johnson. Spoke to Tony Lutrell. I played a bit with Tony. He was wonderful to play with.
I think it's one of the great things about our sort of state grade competitions, that ability to switch players in and out for doubles and bring in those double specialists. And as we go through the journey, you bring in some of those veterans who just sort of come in and step in for doubles. But as a younger player, to play with a veteran or someone, you know, Perth tennis royalty, if you want to go that far, to learn with them on a court, I think it's invaluable what you can learn from them.
Yep, no, well said. So watching B.Webster serving furthest from the camera for Dalkeith. Dalkeith currently leading 3 rubbers to 1 against Kings Park. Lost their opening 2 rounds by 2 games apiece. Dalkeith looking to get on the board for a win this season. Big serve down the tee, did not hold back. Did not hold back, and that would have been a bullet at about 190 kilometres an hour as they change ends, and we skip across back to court number 1. Scotty Webster serving, his brother.
The beauties of doubles and having a bit of confidence in your second serve, I think, especially when I think the day might be wrapped up possibly for them. It's always nice.
Oh, that's good.
I think that's dropped. Yep. Great shot, Scott.
Enough whip on that just to drag it all the way down. And we spoke about technology, Robbie. The change of technology, you know, imposing its will on the game and changing the way the game is played. And you saw that. And yesteryear, 20 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to get that sort of whip on the ball. Nowadays, with the strings and the shaft, the racket shaft, you can take big cuts at the ball, and the strings allow it to soften up a bit and dip down. I think it's 4 games apiece here on this number 1 court. Dalkeith leading 6-2.
I don't know if we've totally just missed one of the best pickups by James Newton just then on a volley. I don't know if we've just missed it, but it happened so quickly we might have. I think that absolutely got whipped down to his feet, and he's picked it up, and Sam Ashenden couldn't even move to it. He was just in a bit of disarray, really. It was fantastic.
I'll have to replay that tonight on the West Australian live feed. Of course, all the State League matches we broadcast, Match of the Round, you can find on the West Australian.
Definitely a special mention. I think it's been fantastic this year what's happened, seeing the reports in the newspaper, and as Scott Webster just copped one just then.
Just been branded.
Yeah, I think reading about Perth tennis, that we always see our stars that are there, but to see our local stars in the paper is incredible. People talking, I had a chat with a few out in the crowd today, and it's been a massive impact. I think yourself mentioning the pros of yesteryear that saw them and talked about it, so I think massive credit to yourself and everybody that's got this going. Scotty Walsh Media, I think it's incredible, and I look forward to it continuing throughout the whole summer and beyond.
Absolutely. Robbie Kennedy, head of tennis for Tennis West, as he puts that away. That's onto the roof, that not coming down. That'll be for some kids to collect. And of course, Robbie Kennedy, a big part of our broadcast right across this summer of tennis, alongside Tommy George, High Performance Tennis Academy Manager. Looking forward to bringing you the Men's and Women's State League each and every week. Match of the Round. Sam Ashenden serving, Kings Park. Oh! We didn't miss that one, Rob Kennedy. He leaned on that wide swinging forehand straight down the line, straight past Jakey Robertson.
It wasn't even a bad serve. He just committed to it. He was there, and he went straight through his shot, which was great to see. Choosing to stay back. Here they come.
Oh, yes, lovely dipping. That's the technology part, you know. Yesteryear, they might have had to chip it, just take a bit of pace of it, but you can still get a lot of whip on that ball coming so low, and just created that problem for James Newton as he worked his way into the net.
And you could see the hesitation, and that's probably why normally in yesteryear you're in off that ball. You've pushed Jake Robinson back, let's get to the net, let's take that charge. But because that's a possibility, there's always that hesitation.
Kick it down the middle, great return. Good pick up, Sam Ashenden. Deep. Oh, lovely athleticism. Great doubles combinations. 5 games to 4 at the change of ends. On serve.
Players enjoying themselves out there, good smiles and a bit of banter between each other, which is great to see. I think we talked about it earlier in the singles, the sportsmanship, but the crowd's getting behind it as well.
Josiah Tyson just catching the top of the net, holding serve. Jarron Stafford. Get a score check in a moment in the second court between Kings Park and Dalkeith. Hope you're enjoying this broadcast. We're enjoying bringing it to you. My name is Brett Patten, sitting alongside Robbie Kennedy and Tommy George from Tennis West, bringing you all the men's and women's state league from right across this summer of tennis.
Just a slight miss hit, I think, on that serve, and Ben Dallinger all over it, and yeah, forcing it down at his feet and just missing that volley wide.
So Benny Dallinger and Jarron Stafford won the first set for Kings Park against B.Webster and Josiah Tyson, 6-3. Get you across the scores.
Oh, lovely touch, lovely touch.
Oh, you can hear the crowd getting right behind their charges here.
It was a good volley. He got it below the net, but he just sort of stepped down, used the angle, and just lovely touch out against that breeze to let it dip back in.
Hear the bowling club just over the loudspeaker there. They're getting involved as well, just cheering on their Dalkeith neighbours.
I think they've had to turn the microphone up a bit because it's getting rowdy here, which is great to hear.
Staying with court number 2 at the moment. Josiah Tyson serving against Ben Dallinger. Dalkeith closest to the camera. Kings Park returning.
Just a double fault there, just roll on the shoulder. It looks a little bit tight. It might be a bit tight in the back there.
Certainly world-class doubles out here today. Subbed in, they've got a 6-man team, Dalkeith, so they've subbed in a couple of different players to get out there and play. B.Webster and Josiah Tyson didn't play singles. They've come in to play the doubles tie. They've played backhand down the line from Jarron Stafford.
Oh, there he is
Just
again.
snick across to that second court. We just saw a beautiful down the line forehand that we just missed off camera. It will stay with top court. Good doubles closing in towards the end of the second set. But a beautiful forehand by James Newton, youngest player on the court here, serving, partnering up with B.Webster. Sam Ashenden couldn't make the return game. 4 games apiece here in this closing stages of the second set. Of course, third set, if it goes to that distance, will be a super tiebreaker, first to 10 points. Dalkeith currently leading 6-2 and 4 games apiece here against Kings Park. Okay. Good wheels, just couldn't get there and whip that over, and he's just clutching at the hamstring. You think he's playing a little bit of fox and hound there? Robbie Kennedy, as you're saying good day to all the fans that come up and shake your hand. You're quite the man about town here, aren't you?
I think when you've worked in coaching and been tennis for a while now, yeah, just done a few coaching courses with a few of the players down here today. But yeah, you don't want to see Scotty Webster grabbing his hamstring, as if you're a Dalkeith member.
Pick up. Oh, lovely move, right on top of the net. It was nowhere to go for James Newton on that occasion. It's good athleticism there by Jakey Roberts.
Starting to lift another notch out here, isn't it?
He is.
Starting
he's
to lift
going
another
up.
notch.
Well, he can see the finish line. He likes to play in the bigger situations and has to produce. If you drop your serve here, it's almost game over.
Just missed. Just missed wide.
Sammy just letting him know. Out of reach.
Can never wipe the smile off Sam's face, whether he's winning, losing.
He loves it.
That said, we've seen a few tantrums along the way, but he's always smiling when he does it.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that wind just pushing that ball just a little long. Good hold of serve there. 5-4.
Just noticing in Kings Park, they're getting the net there a little bit more. I think they're starting to dominate the net and they're starting to show. There are a few little cracks, but yeah, forcing Dalkeith to try and really win this match as they cross over at 5-4 as we switch to court 2.
B.Webster went the cross, just dropped the head of the racket, just couldn't produce a little touch winner. Ben Dallinger serving closest to the camera for Kings Park. Won the first set, on serve in the second. He might stay with court number 1. This closes in on this final stage of the second set. Of course, if Kings Park win this set, they'll go to a super tiebreaker, first to 10 points. Scotty Webster, outstanding singles match against Jakey Robinson today, serving closest to the camera for Dalkeith.
Just trying to use that breeze and go out wide. It just got a little bit away. Big second serve here. Oh, well done.
Good hands there from James Newton. Good teamwork, actually. They called that play. It was a body serve that James asked his partner, Scotty, to serve, and he jammed up Jakey and got the easy overhead, forehand, high forehand, put away.
Yeah, great volley there, just, you know, routine 101 play there, pushing Jake Robinson back a bit there, forcing it down in his sneakers, having to make something happen. I would have liked to have seen him maybe make Scott make that one more ball, okay, but he went for something, and yeah, it's been good doubles from the two.
Well, forehand chip there too from Sam Ashenden. That's the way he plays the game. Nice, take a little bit of pace off the return of serve.
Yeah, just got on him a bit quick there. They've squeezed Jake up into that backhand, and you can see that they're really targeting his sort of left pocket or his backhand pocket there, and that's one of those ones where he just maybe wasn't quite onto it. A little bit of extra pace from Scott, as he has taken off a bit of pace these first couple of points. It's a fantastic serve out wide. I think you could see that the first couple of points he used that breeze, and took a bit off his serve, and then the last two when the pressure's on, he really stepped up and went after it, which I think his father would like to see. Is see him being an attacking player. He thinks that's when he's playing his best tennis.
Just sort of got down on the haunches a bit there, Scotty. He just looked like he might be struggling with something, whether it's just a bit of fatigue or a bit of a niggle. Nice return low from James Newton. Oh, this is in the tiebreaker. 1 point to love. Big return of serve, and nice little mini break here for the Dalkeith duo. James Newton to serve, out to the backhand wing of Sam Ashenden. First to 7 points here. Unlike the third set, if he got there, it'd be a super tiebreaker, first to 10 points. Normal tiebreaker, first to 7, with the advantage of 2 points. Lovely deep serve. And a better return from Sam Ashenden, making up for that drop of serve before. 1 point apiece. A little bit tricky into this breeze though, Robbie.
Yeah, I was talking to Tom George about it before, not seeing James Newton not serving volley often in the doubles, and he alluded to the fact, you know, maybe when he gets a bit older, a little bit stronger, that might be something that he adds into his game a little bit more, but it does open the door for a deep return and to be put on that back foot.
Oh, misunderstanding, and that ball just zinged in. About a foot inside the baseline, just catching Scotty Webster off guard there. It was an easy, relatively easy put-away volley if he had committed to it.
I'm going to assume that he must have thought it was going to go long. It had heavy spin on it. I don't know if it came straight out of the middle, but I'm a big believer if the forehand volley's there to be played, probably should go it. But yeah.
2 points to 1. Jake Robinson for Kings Park serving. Got the mini break ahead. Oh, overplaying the forehand, Scotty. 3 points to 1.
Really took the pace off his serve there, which I think Scotty was kind of through his shot a little bit early on that one.
Oh, nice little drop shot there from Sam Ashenden. Scotty got across, but unfortunately was on him too quick and couldn't get the spin that he was required to dip it in.
Definitely looks like he's walking a little bit gingerly at the moment. I think he's, you can see him not taking a full stride, sort of shaking his head a little bit here, but it's kind of those moments where you got to go, all right, let's try and get through it now and not go to that third set.
Well, we saw him grab at the hammy, only a matter of 15 or so minutes ago, so maybe potentially that's playing on his mind. He's down 1-4 serving. Lovely backhand, off backhand, right in front of James Newton. 5 points to 1. Lost the opening serve in this tiebreak and won the next 5. On a real roll at the moment, the Kings Park duo, as they change ends, just settling each other.
Just sort of having a close eye on Scotty as he crosses over here. He hasn't seemed to grab it, but he definitely looks like he's sort of a bit tight on that hamstring, but hopefully it's just a little bit of cramp and he can come through all right.
He's not moving as freely, sort of short, sharp steps, a little bit of a lean on one side. Potentially a limp there, Robbie. Your old man's a doctor, what would he say?
Mate, the only things I heard from my old man was ice rest and elevation. I said 13 years of study as an Olympic doctor, and that's all you gave me, which I guess is a good thing. I didn't need the knife from him, so that was good. So, yeah. Shout out to the great man if he's listening.
He'll be listening. Overplaying it. Yep. Yeah, a little bit of frustration creeping into the Dalkeith duo. Down 1 point to 6. 5 set point opportunities to push this into a super tiebreaker in the third set and keep the hopes alive for Kings Park. Sam Ashenden serving. He'll go flat and wide here. That's the signal from his partner.
What are you thinking here, Scotty? You'll just go big, and if it's in, it's in, it's out, it's out. We move on.
Yeah, I think Scotty's going to go after this. And doesn't need to. Through in a little double fault there. So he's got a few set points to play with. Currently leading 6 points to 2 on serve. Lovely cross court. Great doubles out here. 1 set apiece between Kings Park and Dalkeith heading into that all-important third set super tiebreaker. First at 10 points, Robbie. From what you've seen here, third set, who are you leaning towards?
As I said earlier, just noticing Kings Park actually starting to dominate the net. I think they're starting to get to the net. They're imposing themselves there. I'm a big believer that that's where you win doubles. As great as Scott and both James are playing, I mean, even seeing James there with a fantastic whipping forehand, but there was just the poise of Jake Robinson to just stand and deliver on the volley. I think if that continues, then they're going to win this match. Seeing Scott grab at his leg as well, it's not something that you want to see, but I think, dominate the net, and that's the place to win doubles.
So they're making their way out to start this super tiebreaker, third set. Closest to the camera, the Dalkeith duo, just geeing each other up. And we can see, Scotty's just not walking with the fluency that he had at the start of the day. James Newton looking to serve. Opening stages of this third set, super tiebreaker, first to 10 points.
Obviously just the 1 point to start with, and then 2 from there.
Here we go. Oh, overplaying that, but I just like that pressure from Jakey Robinson, really crowding the net, giving no angles to the Dalkeith duo.
If I was able to coach, I'd be saying they've really gone after that backhand pocket of Jake. He's too good of a player to give him every single serve to that spot. So I think they either need to start using the breeze and just change it up and then come back to it in a tight moment. But he's all over that return now. He's taken charge as we talk right now.
He certainly has. And gee whiz, there's a lot of his father in him, the way he just crowds that net and gets around his movement. 2 points to love. Super tiebreaker, first to 10 points. Kings Park, furthest from the camera. Up a mini break. Super tiebreak, third set. And again, putting a lot of pressure on the Dalkeith team.
Yeah, I think something's got to happen here now. They've sort of got to maybe have a little chat to each other and just go, come on, let's forget about sort of that tiebreaker before in the first where we've started. Let's rethink our tactics here, and it starts with 1. Let's start with 1 and we'll go from there. So really go after your first serve here, Scotty, and pick your best spot, and let's go from there is what I'd be saying.
S.Webster serving, down 3 points to love. Lovely little chip across court there from James Newton, getting him onto the scoreboard. All important third set super tiebreaker, 3 points to 1. Just catching the top of the tape.
Just putting that flat one out there against the wind a bit to bring it back in, and then James squeezing the middle.
talking, having a look at where they're going to serve. 1-3. There's wide swinging serve, great return. Good hands, no, just dumping that little chip backhand volley. Still a mini break in this. Jakey to serve.
Take down the middle if you can.
Yeah, well, I guess
Go down the middle if you've got no other option.
getting some advice from the great Tony Lutrell, uncle of Jake Robinson.
It's very hard to argue against him there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And he's looking to go middle here.
Big one here. 2-3.
3-2. Big kick serve. Great return. Lovely volley. Just dug that out and a good overhead. Gee whiz, great athleticism from Jake Robinson.
I think
4 points to
he's
2.
really shown his maturity and he's just his quality at the net.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't flounder around about. He's got a strong base. He just sees that ball onto his racket and just puts it where it needs to be. And
He's not seeing the father, chipping and charging and dinking and what. He sees it and he hits it.
He hits it.
That's it.
There's a little bit of dink and chip and work around, just like his father, as we're listening to Tony Lutrell.
Just smack it away.
Yeah.
it's always good when you actually bring in the family. We've been very complimentary of Kurt, but
Yes.
we get a little bit of
insight.
Hurry up, mate. I've played with him for 20 years. That's dinking shit.
Tony Lutrell, one of the great coaches from WA, joining us here in the commentary. 4-2. And
just
a little
there.
long.
Serve into the body.
Serve the body serve.
That one, Brett?
I did. Maybe you can hear getting some advice from the super coach. Tony Lutrell out here, the wide, into the body serve. 2 points to 5 to the Kings Park GI, closest to the camera.
You can see Jake's had a lot of experience and a lot of experienced minds talking to him as he's
yeah.
grown up, and
No doubt
he's
about
showing
that.
that out on the court right now. Just a few.
His grandmother was here, Hall of Famer, tennis
Grandmother's there, yeah.
seniors Australia. She just left. Just too long. James Newton.
Hitting the forehand off this one, Brett.
I think he might,
I'll
Tony.
be hitting the forehand off this one, mate.
Just running around.
Oh, mate, I'll be out in the light post.
There it is. Oh, a lovely point. Great doubles. B.Webster, Scotty Webster, I should say, just cutting off some of the charge from Jake and Sam Ashenden. 3 points to 5. First to 10 points in the super tiebreaker, third set.
I'll tell you what, our national state coach here must be enjoying what he's seeing. From
Oh, he's
James
got to be.
Newton.
Got to be.
He's,
Tommy George, he'd be out there just great tennis.
Good tennis.
You hear some of the commentary from Tony Lutrell. Big serve down the middle. Oh, a little long and the big come on from Sammy Ashenden. 6 points to 3.
Go on, Robbo.
You can hear the crowd.
I don't want to sound like a broken
up and about.
record, but there's that to the pocket serve again. He doesn't have much behind it either, and Jake's all over it. He's hitting that ball straight into the net, putting the pressure on him, having to make them do something very special to win. Nearly did it, but the percentage game's going to win out more times than not.
Yeah, I like the way Jake's just possessing the net, just all over the net, and really forcing your opponents to hit past him, hit over him, hit around him. They can't do it at this stage. 6 points to 3. Sam Ashenden serving closer to the camera.
Good return.
Got one of the mini breaks back. Sam and Jake just having a few words, talking about where they're going to serve.
It's quite a big point, this one. 4-6.
point.
You know, you miss this one, it's back on serve.
Back on serve if they don't. 6-4.
Got to go wide into the wall.
And Tony Lutrell suggesting there's a wide serve on offing. Goes wide. Missing.
Took a little bit off as well to really actually get it out into the wall, didn't he?
Oh, there it is. The crowd getting right behind. Left that serve short. And it was punished. 6 points to 5. Back on serve.
It's Michael Offerman you hear there in the background getting very excited for his teammates.
Up and about.
I'll tell you what though, I'm not taking a chance on either Scotty or James's forehand, and it sort of just sat there for him, and to the kid's credit, he just put it away. It was a fantastic shot.
The I formation here, James Newton and Scotty Webster. Down the tee, good serve. And there it is, 6 points apiece, change of ends. Starting to really tighten up later stages of this super tiebreaker in the third. Obviously first to 10 points.
While they change ends, as the CEO and stepping into the role here of Tennis West, you've got to be enjoying what you're seeing here. You know, having what you've got and put on here, the quality of tennis that we're watching, the people that are here. How are you feeling about everything at the moment?
Oh, I'm wrapped. This has been a great day's tennis out here. certainly the high quality of tennis all across the day's play has been simply exceptional, and certainly the crowd are enjoying it. Dalkeith put on a great show. The weather's been superb, seeing some of the best talent in WA.
And we've got a 6-6 in a super tie break, third set. That's what you want.
6 points apiece. Scotty Webster serving, closer to the camera. Oh, well played. 7 points to 6. A little bit of confusion down the far end of the court with the Kings Park boys.
There's that hamstring again. He's sort of clutching his groin a little bit now, but I tell you what, if it's that bad, he sort of got down at that volley still and still played a strong ball. But
You
he's
don't
feeling
feel
it.
any pain when you're up, though, Robbie. You know that.
Absolutely.
6 points to 7. Good kick serve. Oh, that's a little short, and that's paid the price too. 6 points to 8. Just lost their way a little bit, the Kings Park duo. Getting some advice to go hard and heavy down the middle. 6 points to 8. Dalkeith duo, 2 points away from this match. First serve let. A little long. Second serve with the breeze. Oh, called it long. Boys just having another look at that. That's 9 points to 6. 3 match points for the Dalkeith duo. Young James Newton serving. No, it's not. Scotty Webster looks like he's serving to the backhand wing.
Got to give credit where credit's due for how they've turned this super tiebreak around.
9 points to 6, the Dalkeith duo. 3 match points. There it is, all over, and the crowd appreciating this, and the hats have gone, and the high fives are in. It's been a real entertaining doubles out there at the moment. Cut to number 4 as we see the boys just enjoying what has been a spectacular doubles. And a well-deserving win for the Dalkeith Tennis Club team. Their first win, currently in an unassailable lead, 4 rubbers to 1 lead against Kings Park, who are top of the table after the first 3 rounds. And we're kicking back to the number 2 court. A little bit of confusion out there at the moment. Just need to get a score check. The Kings Park duo won the first set. And the score check in the second set is 4 games to 3 to the Dalkeith duo, B.Webster and Josiah Tyson.
It's always great having someone like a Tony Lutrell for sitting there and giving some insights, and that family connection, always important, but yeah. No.
A great mind for tennis, Tony Lutrell, as has all the Lutrells. They've been heavily involved in tennis for the better part of 50 years with their father, and Tom and Reg and Tony, all great tennis talent in their own rights throughout WA and overseas for many, many decades. Gee whiz.
Big wind-up.
Big wind-up from B.Webster. Looking across, he knows that the Dalkeith have won the day. 4 rubbers to 1.
No better feeling than being on a doubles court and just being able to enjoy yourself. The pressure's dropped off, but you still want that rubber.
Particularly
you always want that
big
rubber.
matches too. And if you've got a semi-final or a final, you can just sort of really relax knowing that your team's got their nose in front.
Not many people would have predicted a 5-1 here.
No.
It's a great effort if Dalkeith happened to pull off a 5-1. Even a 4-2 is a great win for the club and really sets their season up nicely.
It's been a terrific day of tennis, and just seeing the shadows come across the courts here at Dalkeith. As we say goodbye to the great man and Tony Lutrell, Margie Robinson, Vanessa Powell, some of the great tennis people in WA. Just enjoying the scenery down here. Come down to watch, come down to listen to you and Tommy George. Give a wonderful broadcast of today's play. Hope everyone's enjoying the vision through the West Australian Live. Big serve from B.Webster, just playing that little long.
Yeah, it's just great seeing tennis people down at the tennis clubs and enjoying this kind of entertainment. And from what I've heard, there's a few people down here, and there was a couple of families before that just happened to be in the area and decided to sit on the bank and watch along, which is, I mean, there's not many better places than to sit on a bank at Dalkeith and watch games like this on a day like this.
Getting tennis back, local tennis back in the public eye where it belongs. Some of our great tennis talent, great talent coming out of WA on the world stage at the moment, and that next tier of talent coming through. Might get Ollie Henderson in here, maybe captain of Dalkeith Tennis Club, come in for a bit of a chat. We're watching the final stage of the second set here for
We've got him
Dalkeith.
coming. He's trying to make it out like he doesn't want to, but I think he's very excited to come and join us.
Enjoys the microphone as we bring in Ollie Henderson, the captain of Dalkeith Tennis Club, and just pulled himself off. Had a great singles match out there, Ollie, but you've just given yourself a bit of a breather for the doubles. Well done in your singles. Why aren't you playing the doubles?
Oh, I'm not good enough, I don't think. Yeah, no, rostered myself off, which is nice. But no, Scott and James are a very good pairing at 1 and 2, and then we thought we'd bring in some fresh legs with Ben and Josiah as well in the second doubles. So very good, very good.
You got a deep list here at Dalkeith this year. I mean,
we
you're
do, yes.
Expecting big things. You haven't won a state league for a better part of 20 years, Ollie, and you've lost the last 2 state league finals, but off to a bit of a shaky start. Lost the opening 2 rounds by 2 games in 2 games. You've got a great team, good depth. I mean, you're kind of optimistic about what the season's going to look like?
Always optimistic. No, you're right. Losing the last 2 state league finals to Henderson by a combined total of 5 games is not the best. But I think we're due. Aren't we, Brett?
There's no doubt about that.
So we'll see. It's a long season, but you're right. It's good to get a win today after a couple tight ones in the first 2 rounds.
Now your form out there today. I mean, you played a bit of a journeyman and a stage and a very good player in Sam Ashenden. You must be happy with the way you're playing. I mean, would you have seen yourself going into that match as the favourite?
No, I wouldn't say probably not the favourite. No, but no, I've started to hit a little bit more, which is nice. But yeah, I've probably had a couple seasons now where I haven't been hitting too much. So we'll hopefully try and up the level a bit this season. Yeah, we'll see.
What do you do with the team? Are you train on a Thursday nights? I mean, what does the training regime look like?
It's not really rigid, that's for sure. It's kind of just whoever flicks a message into the group chat, whoever's free. But yeah, with James and Nathan Lim as well still at school, it's a bit of a struggle during the day. But us older blokes, we normally have 1 or 2 hits during the week.
Well, your form's very good, so you come off the fresh play. Obviously, that's not a bad way to do it. I mean, you mean great talent. I mean, S.Webster, we know Scotty's he's a prodigious talent. He's down at the State Tennis Centre most days hitting. If he's not hitting, he's in the gym. And obviously, young James Newton. I mean, his pedigree is we saw that today. He's a terrific young talent. Josiah, Tyson, you've stepped up to the captain's role this year. Did you sack Josiah? Was there a bit of was there some murmurs around bad leadership? What was it?
Internal review. I think he just wasn't pulling his weight. No, Joe's been trying to get me to take over for the best part of a few years now, and I finally succumbed to it. I think he's just had enough of it. But no, Joe's still a great member of our team, and will continue to be for the rest of the season. But no, it's good fun. It's good fun, and I think first things first, here at Dalkeith we have a good bunch of blokes, as I think most teams should be able to attest to, and I think myself and probably B.Webster might not be playing pennants still if it wasn't for, hanging around with such good mates. So
well, that's good.
It's good fun. Yeah.
I mean, culture plays a big part in the success of teams.
Yeah.
The more teams enjoy playing with each other, the more they build each other up, the more success they have on the court and off the court. So, I mean, you must be pleased. I mean, again, having a nice, deep group of players around about the same age, all good mates, and just getting behind each other, loving the game of tennis, and the club here gets right behind their pennant players as well, don't they?
Yeah, of course, yeah. No, we've also brought in Michael Offerman this season, which has been a great addition. He made his state league debut today, and just went down in a tight one, but I think it paid dividends to play a 3-hour 2-set match, because Ben had to go on and play doubles, whereas Michael could step off and let some fresh legs take part. So no, it was good to see him play, and he's been a good mate of all of ours for a while now. So he's come across the ditch from Scarborough.
Yeah, it's a long way to come.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah,
the golden triangle. People don't get out of this golden triangle. Once they get sucked in, they don't get out of it. Now you've got some great sponsors on board for this year. That these type of teams aren't really possible without some great shot there from B.Webster, I should say. Great rally.
Just got there.
Catching the frame and a little bit of a fist pump there. They're enjoying what they're going through out here. But some of your sponsors, you want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, for sure. No, our major sponsor is Perth Radiological Clinic, and they've been great support for I think the best part of 3 years now, and they pretty much make it all happen really. So without them, we couldn't do this stuff. So
that's great
really
to see.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, and love to see more sponsors come on board and support some of the great talent that we've got here playing the men's and women's state league as we're watching some of the closing stages of this final doubles here today. You generally play on 4 courts out here at Dalkeith, Ollie?
Yeah, so we're the only team that actually plays on 4 courts. which is, I guess, 2 courts is probably better for viewing. However, we like to get out here on time, so it's very good from our perspective, yes.
Now, your background with your tennis, you've been a very good player for a long period of time here in WA. Still only a young fella by in dog's years, Ollie, but tell the viewers a little bit about your background with your tennis.
Yeah, grew up playing tennis my whole life, really. Tennis and footy player, and never really decided between the two, so kind of played both at an okay level. But yeah, no, I'm 22 now. Grew up played in the Bruce Cup, played in a couple of Pizzy Cups as well, and then competed at some nationals, and probably since the age of 16 or 17 didn't hit quite as much for sure, but can still have some fun down here with some good mates at Dalkeith, so it's good.
Obviously a game for life too, Ollie. You look a lot older than you're 22, mate. You're in good shape still, and looking forward to a really good season. Love to see Dalkeith get right up there and have another shot at winning this title after a couple of heartbreaking losses over the last couple of years. And well done for stepping up into the captain's role, mate. Be nice to see you just holding that cup up above your head come April next year. Good stuff. Good on you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Ollie Henderson, the captain of the Dalkeith Men's State League side, after a nice singles win today. As we're watching the closing stages of this second doubles match up between Kings Park and Dalkeith Tennis Club, as we welcome back Tommy George to the commentary booth. Robbie Kennedy's done a great job coming down and giving some insights into his experience with tennis. Tommy George.
Yeah, it's great to have Rob on today. He brought an interesting flavour, and you've got to love RK's energy. He's just always upbeat and positive and got good stories. So it's been an absolute pleasure doing some commentary alongside Rob today.
He's a bit reluctant to let me tell the story about one of his starlet girlfriends when he was at college. Beautiful hands there from Josiah Tyson. I've been shut down on a couple of stories today. One with you, Tommy George, and one with Robbie Kennedy, but we'll get those out in the next couple of weeks. I can assure the viewers of that. Change of ends here. On serve. The day has been won. There's no doubt about that. The Dalkeith team got their first win on the board today to get off to a nice start. Round 3. First couple of rounds, narrow losses, but gee whiz, they've played particularly great tennis here today as a team. And currently leading 4 rubbers to 1, unassailable lead. So there's 6 rubbers played throughout the day. As soon as the team gets to 4, they win, but you play it out. Every match you win gets an extra couple of points. Big serve from lovely between the legs, if you don't mind. A little bit of a hot dog. Good court coverage. Oh, indecisive, and he's called it good. Oh, yeah. They've gone to the review. And B.Webster can't believe his luck. Great hands.
It could be one of the points of the day, Pratt. We said unbelievable tweener from Webster, and then a big off forehand, and then the lob goes in. The crowd went absolutely bananas, loving this action.
What's been your highlights for today? Some of the matches that you've seen across the day's play. I mean, what have you enjoyed? Some of the players you've enjoyed so far?
I've immensely enjoyed the whole day, but a real highlight for me was seeing James Newton win at the number 2 position. Just seeing him really come into his own and playing really aggressive brand of tennis. Good attitude, moving well. I really like to see when these juniors make that transition up into the senior space, and we're really seeing a boy turn into a man. So that's really been my highlight. How about you, Brett?
Yeah, I enjoyed the number 1 singles, Scotty Webster and Jakey Robinson. I thought the quality of tennis in that first singles was absolutely exceptional. I did enjoy watching James Newton, Jarron Stafford play. We were, of course, keeping coverage of the first 2 courts. We didn't get to see a lot in the court 3 and court 4, but the quality of tennis down there with Ollie Henderson, who we've just spoken to, and Sam Ashenden was world class again. And obviously Benny Dallinger getting a win for Kings Park on that 4th court to keep them in the tie today. And the doubles has been simply exceptional as well. The closeness of both these courts and the great hands around the net, the heavy hitting, but the touch. I mean, we really are blessed with a wonderful depth of talent here in WA.
That's right, and that is a wonderful story as well, with Ben Dallinger coming back into State League. Exceptional junior, played Junior Davis Cup, was the number 1 junior in Australia, and I was told he was 6-1, 5-1 up against Zverev as a junior. So amazing pedigree. So that's the best thing about State League. You've got these top players come back in and enjoying his tennis, and as we watch this wonderful point. Oh, well, good smash, bounced it over, almost went over the fence into the bowls club. But you're right about the doubles. Both doubles have come down to the super tie break, nothing in it. And that's why we love the doubles. It's just such a leveler that anyone can win.
It's funny you should mention that match, Benny Dallinger and Alexander Zverev, who's currently number 4 in the world. We were sent through a draw for the Traralgon ITF Junior Under-18s event only yesterday. Talia Gibson, one of the top talents in Australia, coming out of WA. She's currently now 17 years of age, but when she was 14 and a half, beautifully played. 14 and a half she played in the Under-18s ITF event in Traralgon. That tournament was also played by Emma Raducanu, who's just won the US Open, and Leylah Fernandez, who got to the final of the US Open. And Talia Gibson got through to a quarter-final, and Fernandez got through to the final, but Emma Raducanu got through to a semi-final. So, you know, the pedigree that you've got, again, we keep harping on this, but we're very blessed to have some great talent coming out of WA.
Yeah, it's amazing to look through that draw the other day with Talia Gibson and all the big names. You see that? Oh, what a shot there! Josiah, the crowd up and about there. But no, you're exactly right. It shows that Talia and those other WA girls are playing the same tournaments and their junior results just as good as someone as Emma Raducanu, and then goes on to win the US Open, which shows that they can do it as well. And I think that's really encouraging to know that you've played with those players and you're at the same level. And I think in that draw, Talia beat a top 10 player in the world who was 3 years older than her.
Does that give you belief, seeing those type of kids now go on and be world-class athletes, and you knowing you played in the same junior tournament only a matter of a year, 2 years ago? I mean, that would give you some inner belief, wouldn't it?
Oh, there's absolutely no doubt about it. Oh, just wide there, the Dolphin crowd getting up and about behind the boys here. No, there's no doubt about it. When you put in the hard work and hours on court there with your coach, and you get some confidence from that. But when you actually go out and have some good results against players that are going out and living and doing very well on the international stage, I think it's pivotal for their confidence that they can do it themselves. And that's a big part of what we believe here in WA, is trying to get our older players in hitting with the younger players and giving back a bit. So, you know, if they can see it, then they can do it. One of your great quotes, VP.
I would have stolen that from someone else, Tommy George. Great rallies out here. It's a tiebreaker in the second set. Just caught B.Webster on the back foot on that occasion. Shout out to Scotty Walsh and Tomio Yamazaki for helping us with the production today. We do all the easy part, get on and talk tennis, and they're setting up and making us look good.
Yeah, I feel very guilty on that. Brett turned up here today and it's all set up immaculately.
Good hustle. Oh, overhead smash. Did all the hard work, the Dalkeith duo, and just couldn't put away the overhead. And there's the match. Another tie for the Kings Park duo, winning in straight sets, 6-3, 7-6. Benny Dallinger and Jarron Stafford against B.Webster and Josiah Tyson. So the day, as we kick back to you and I before we close out on what's been a really impressive day's play here at Dalkeith Tennis Club. End of round 3. Dalkeith the winners today, 4 rubbers to 2. We've made mention that there's been some wonderful tennis, but just summarise the day for us, Tommy George.
Summary, just a wonderful win for the home team, Dalkeith Dolphins. They were too good today. They're led by S.Webster. Wonderful article in the West Australian highlighting the great player that he is, and I thought exceptionally led by him, winning singles doubles. Great win from Jimmy at number 2, and I mean, credit to Kings Park. They hung in there, fought hard and won 2 rubbers, but I think the crowd immensely enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed my coverage with you today. Big shout out to Scotty's Media and Tomio for the setup today, West Australian, and to you, Brett. It's been a pleasure.
Tommy George just summed it up very nicely there. From me, from Tommy, from Rob Kennedy, from all at Tennis West, to Scotty's Media and Tomio Yamazaki. Thank you very much for the production. Looking forward to bringing you all the Men's and Women's State League next week, round 4. Until then, stay tuned, get down to your local tennis club, become a member, and enjoy playing tennis. Bye for now.